Hello and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday. We made it. It's already the 5th of January. We are cruising. We had a great way to start off the year with Jason Ronald's hashtag LFG. And well, listen, I know some people are suggesting that is looking for group. I'm here to tell you that that is not what he meant. And that was on the first. And then, of course, the day after good friend of this program, great podcaster, great content creator, all the way out of Madrid, Spain. Ecstasies drops the first nuclear bomb of 2024. And of course, it's that the developer direct is happening on January 25th. Supposedly, according to his sources, Double Fine's game is going to be shadow dropped, and we're going to get some updates on some major games like Avowed, like Hellblade, like Towerborn, and Aria, the RTS game as well. And I think they're also supposed to have an update, according to him, of Flight Simulator 2024, which is literally going to be like a new game because there's so many things you can do other than just fly a plane. Um, and well, here we are. And when you look at the other side, which of course is PlayStation, they continue to step on the rakes, folks. One rake after another, just boom, 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 keep getting smashed in the face. They open up the year with an official 14 million euro bill from France for anti-competitive behavior, which we know that they're known for. And of course, the story of the day, and this is to me is a conundrum. It's a conundrum on multiple levels, folks. Is that the Horizon MMO is not releasing on the PlayStation 5 and is only targeting mobile and PC. Does that make Sony third party? Well, I mean, if you look at history, and we're going to call it down the line, Crispy Bomb, we got to be fair about this. Let's call it down the line. Microsoft, or specifically Xbox, was shunned for putting their games both on PC and Xbox, right? How dare you put your chocolate with my peanut butter? I don't like it, right? And well, they've been doing it and they're making a lot of money. And now we see Sony starting to do that, but skipping the PlayStation 5 on a multiplayer game after they just canceled The Last of Us Online and the Spider-Man MMO. I don't know, man. Does that Mr. Multiplayer himself, Crispy Bomb, does that make them like deficient in multiplayer?
They don't know what to do with multiplayer. That's why they license out the IP, apparently. I mean, let's be honest. So I don't know how we're going to go about this. I'm interested in everybody else's thoughts. I kind of already said mine to Boom, but I'm going to say it again to the chat.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Rome is burning. Are you going to stand with Rome?
No, I'm walk away into the water so I don't fry. No, I'm not. I'm not
I mean, let's be serious here. Like there's something going on. The salt in my coffee is actually pretty tasty right now, and I don't understand why people want to ignore the facts, and that's what I have a problem with like it's society as in general right now, but especially when it comes to plastic boxes. I mean, kind of funny to me.
Yeah, we're going to get into that because the lack of participation from the gaming media regarding this particular topic is, to me, is baffling. Like, it's a story, and it's a story that you should be talking about, but they refuse to move against Sony. And by the way, folks, if you're wondering, this is Terminator Resistance. I had played through it. I beat it when it first released. This is like their Game of the Year edition, and there was like an upgrade path for like $11 that reset all the achievements, gave me all the DLC. So I started playing through it again, and I am going to get another 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements on this. The game is phenomenal. Okay, you're going to notice that some of the character models, they're not the greatest. That's what it is. But if you're a fan of RoboCop, this is the same studio that made the game. I absolutely loved it so much, and I'm playing through it again. It is it is a first-person shooter, sure, but it does have a pretty compelling RPG element and an upgrade path for the Terminator weapons, which I think are cool. Like you put different circuits in there, you make it more powerful, you give it a higher fire rate, more ammo in the clip. I mean, this game is pretty freaking deep, and it's dope. I really enjoyed it, and I'm enjoying it again. And yeah, you fight Terminators. I'm hoping now, folks. If you remember, remember I'm old, so you bear with me. Does anyone in the chat remember the Super NES game that came in a black box where it was RoboCop versus Terminator? It was a side scroller beat 'em up shooter. It was dope. The box was freaking epic. It was a plastic thick box that said RoboCop versus Terminator. I'm hoping, it's just a hope, folks, that because they have obviously they made a Terminator game, they made a RoboCop game. Maybe this is the kind of chocolate and peanut butter situation I'm talking about, right? I will take this. But listen, folks, we have a lot to get into. Obviously, we're going to open up with the Horizon MMO skipping PlayStation 5, which again, it doesn't make any sense. It just really doesn't. We're also going to talk about Microsoft having a 15-year plan in effect, and we learned that thanks to Mr. Scooper himself of Xbox era, and that's Special Nick. He was talking about it, and he said that they have in place right now a 10 to 15-year game output, which is, when you look again, we have to talk when you talk about Xbox, folks, you got to talk about PlayStation. Nintendo, they kind of do their own thing. They're going to be okay, or as like the kids like to say, they're going to be all right, right? That's what the kids like to say. So I'm going to follow suit. Nintendo's going to be all right. They have a new console coming out. They have a new F-Zero apparently coming out. They have a new 3D Mario coming out, along with potentially Metroid Prime 4 releasing on that console, which is expected to release at the end of this year. I'll take 2, probably even 3. 1 for me, 1 for Mrs. Boom, and of course 1 for Tyler. He's getting it, and we're buying it for him. But listen, Web Dave, Happy New Year, brother. Welcome.
Hey, buddy.
How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm very optimistic about the gaming community, so it's pretty exciting right now. Pretty excited. This is a great time to be alive.
Yeah, it is. I mean, here's the thing. We are Xbox centric gamers. Most of us here, we don't shy away from it. But we all have PlayStation 5s. At least most of us do. Most of us have a Switch as well. This is going to be another banner year for gaming as a whole, but for Xbox gamers, especially when it comes to first-party single-player games, it is going to be the benchmark year of the platform. Some things I'm hearing that no one's talking about because no one knows. It's some secret channels that I'm talking with, and some of the stuff that's been already put out there, not just by me, by other people. Obviously Hasbro Gaming, Idle Sloth, the Terminator. I think he is definitely a cyborg at some point, or at least a piece of him is. You have a lot of them, a lot of leakers. Special Nick, leaker number 1. I mean, honestly, Jeff Grubb continues to do it's what we love Jeff Grubb for. And this is why we tune into all of their content, right? And what we're hearing is Xbox is preparing, like King David likes to say, boot on neck equals suffocation. I changed the game a little bit. I want boot up ass. That's just me. But ass, neck, you make your choice. Pause right there. Infinite Umbra, we did get you a chance to see you on Tuesday to wish you a happy new year, but you're here today, and we're happy to have you here, brother. Obviously, you've already beaten your first game, RoboCop. You loved it. RoboCop is amazing. What a love letter. Now, is it perfect, Umbra? No, it has its faults. But if you are a fan of the film, you almost have to buy this game. Happy New Year, brother. How you feeling?
I am feeling fine, Boom. There will be trouble. No, man, I really enjoyed that game. I really did, and it's one of those things where you can play that, and it's the way it's set up, the way it's linear,
yes,
and level based. You don't have to
it doesn't require you to like put in as much time in the open world type setting. I think it just has a design of, in my opinion, of a 7th gen kind of game. The way it's designed.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. It has a feeling to it, like a
Yeah.
very slow, methodical kind of a 7th generation type of game, kind of like Terminator, to be honest.
Something like that. And on top of that, too, you know, it uses Unreal Engine, so I got to.
Well, I
dig
mean,
it up. I got.
I mean, that's your middle name in real life. You changed it legally. I
call me
get it.
Unreal. That's it. Lady come talking to me. Hey, handsome. What did you call me? Did you just mis-engine me?
Oh, how dare you! Off their head.
It's unreal. Thank you. It's unreal. Like it's ma'am. It's unreal. No, but seriously, the game is really solid. I gave it a 7 out of 10. And I happened to get it on sale. It's on sale still currently. I believe the Alex Murphy edition, which was like 48 after tax and some change or whatever. It's to me, I think it's worth it at that price, especially. And if you are a fan of the series, I think it'll really resonate with you personally. It's a fun little ride. Reasonably easy achievements to get, which I am a fan of. I like, an achievement thought. So, a little dedication and fun, and I had the chance to play it on the go as well on the ROG Ally, so through console streaming. So I enjoyed the heck out of it personally, but there are faults with it. It does have its faults and flaws. So I think the 7 is fair enough. I think that's more than fair to give it that. But happy to be here with you guys. And I missed Tuesday, man. You know how it is, of course. So
listen, brother, you work midnights. I get it. I've done them. All you want to do is come home and sleep, dude. So I absolutely get it.
I'm just kidding. I love you, man. I'm teasing.
Well, Dave said there is no excuses for 2024. I get you.
No excuses.
No, but I'm happy to be here with you fellas this morning, and happy New Year to you guys and to the chat. Happy New Year, chat family. Good to be here.
Well, again, great to have you here. And last and no way least, best bald head in the business, best racer in the business, for certainly race car driver, I should say. Hey, Fuzzy Belvedere, what's up, brother? Are you ready to get slanderous, kind sir?
Oh yeah. I'm so glad to be here with you guys. Glad we have everybody in the chat. Man, just so much news coming out, and it's only like the 5th day of the year. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot for us to get into. But man, this is gonna be an awesome show. Just buckle in. We're gonna do this. Let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, before we get into the first topic, which of course is going to be the Horizon MMO skipping PlayStation 5. Again, it's a bit of a conundrum for me. We have a new channel member, Dragon Wolf, from yesterday. So Dragon Wolf, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. He also donated yesterday live on the air 20 double barrel gaming memberships, which is just absolute madness. Good friend of the show, Sherman Jacobs. He has been a channel member for 2 months. Hey, Sherman, hello. Say hello, of course, hello to you. Happy New Year to you and the family. He says, hey, Boom and Pano, when should we realistically expect Forza Horizon 6? Thanks, man. Well, if you ask Fuzzy Belvedere, Fuzzy, drop what your answer is. It really surprised me the other day when you went live. I was able to hang out for an hour with you, a little an hour, a little bit about 30 minutes or so. You seem to think that it's this year, dude.
It is a strong possibility, especially given that Jason Ronald, when he was on ILP, he was like, "Oh yeah, there's a game I'm really excited for that hasn't even been announced." And with the LFG post that he made on Twitter, I'm getting that same feel or that same energy that we may very well see Forza Horizon 6 make its appearance this year. May not necessarily drop, but at least get shown at a showcase. But yeah, there's definitely enough people within that team that it could possibly make an appearance this year. Personally, I would like to see it in 2026 or give it a little bit more room to breathe kind of thing. But
amen.
Hey, it'll definitely do some numbers whenever it shows up. So whether it's this year or a year or two from now.
When did 5 release? Was that 2021 or 2022?
I think that was 21. It was like just after the console. Actually, no, it may have been 2020. Because it was like right after the Series X and S release, but it was like a cross-gen title. But it was, they took, I think, an extra year. So it was like a 3-year cycle instead of the normal 2. But yeah, that thing kind of surprised everybody because they figured they were going to take maybe an additional year on top of that, kind of like the way the Turn 10 team did. But
yeah, it's November 5th, 2021.
yeah,
Is when it so it's you know, I mean, if releases in November, it would be 3 years, which is about the dev time that game usually gets.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. We have Sir X-Men drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "I'm going to be the first one to say this. Sony does not have the investment money for a large multiplayer network. Online is easy on PC and phone. Facts." Yeah, I mean, you are correct in saying so. It just to me, we're going to get into it. It's just odd. Kenta Wilson drops a very generous $7 super chat and says, "Game Pass made me get a ROG ally. The golden age of gaming is here." And Otis is Otis Live 356. Or say, oh yeah, I do. Yeah, I always mispronounce it. So Otis is, but it's
Welcome
Otis
to the
Live.
ROG family.
Yeah, welcome to the ROG family. I have one. I barely use it. It's sitting there. It's a waste. It's for me anyway. He's going to become a new channel member. Otis, thank you so much for that, brother. Super appreciate it. Let's get right into this. So I'm gonna go first to Crispy Bomb here. Crispy, I have the information in front of me, and again, you know, we haven't seen any of the major publications like the IGNs, like the GameSpots, like the Kotakus, right? No one's covering this. You ask why? Is it because that maybe there's not enough information? Well, I have all the information that they could do the same thing that I'm doing. And then obviously, because there are $1 million conglomerates more than just a simple podcaster out of the corner of his apartment, like we are here in Double Barrel Gaming, they have the resources and the financial backing to go and do the actual footwork. So this is what I have in front of me, folks. According to Kurakais on Twitter, and it's Kurakais. This is what they say, folks. This is in regards to a story that was written. Everything I have found, I found out about Horizon MMO is this. The game is now essentially confirmed to be in development. As an NC Soft employee just posted a job listing on LinkedIn with the codename logo and styled similar to the logo of the Horizon games. It's being developed under the codename Project Skyline, with the initial codename being Project H. It is only releasing on PC and mobile. It's coming. They're building it on Unreal Engine 5. Obviously, you'll be very happy to hear that, Umbra.
Indeed.
It also goes to say this. It is expected to launch significantly later than a game that they're currently working on called Aeon 2, which is anticipated to release in 2024 or 2025. So this MMO is years away. Now, what we did learn is that there's 140 people working on this project, and they have been since September of 2023. So it's relatively new. The project is developed in Sung Gu Lee's lineage of IP division and is led by Hang Young Choi, who previously head the Lineage W development team. It goes on to say this is a very significant number comparable to other more advanced and already announced projects, such as Lineage M. They have 136 people working on that, and Lineage W, which I don't even know what that is. Maybe it's a code name. They have 147 people working on it. And it goes, and lastly, it says, and he has all the links here. So this isn't made up. This is like legit, folks. And we had heard about a Horizon MMO, and we made fun of it because we all said, "Who the hell's going to play that?" Right? Like, look, I'm a Horizon fan. I love the first one. I've been banging that drum for years. I thought I was going to love 2 until I was just hit with bug after bug. I got so disenchanted, I never went back. Now, I'm sure it's a great game. I love Aloy as a character. I love the world. I love like the robotic dinosaurs, and I will eventually get through it. I will definitely play through it because I'm a fan of that character. But the truth of the matter is that an MMO, I personally don't see it. We're gonna break it down. But this is what he says in closing, folks. As I have previously reported, NC Soft what appears to be a game titled Land of Salvation, and it could potentially be the official title for the Horizon MMO. This assumption is based on the fact that it's the only unannounced game that we know that could be revealed soon. Of course, it could be some other project that we are not aware of. So I'm looking at the artwork for it for Skyline Project or Project Skyline, and it is the font. It is the exact font for Horizon. It is what it is, folks. And I have all the pictures in front of me. So here's the thing. I'm confused by this because, like I said in the opening, Crispy Bomb, we heard through the leaked documents, and I have it in the title of today's show, that Sony is expecting Microsoft to leapfrog them, and that they themselves are behind in both PC and in mobile, something that Microsoft purchased something and they're automatically relevant, right? They spent nearly $70 billion. And because of that money that they spent, the investment in the platform, they immediately become shoulder to shoulder relevant with Apple and Google on mobile, and they immediately have a ridiculous presence in PC, something that they started years ago when they were shunned, something that Sony is years away from doing. But now we get into a particular situation, and again, folks, the whole crux of today's conversation, this particular one, is let's call it down the middle, right? When Microsoft does something egregious or anti-consumer, Xbox fans are the first one to put them in their place. We get change done and everybody wins. That's not the way it works in the PlayStation community. They continue just to take what's being fed to them, even if it's poo. Here's more poo. Oh, delicious. I'll take more. Give me more. Give me another pile. I don't get that. Folks, I'm like not being facetious. I don't understand that. As a matter of fact, if you don't believe me and you were a Sony fan, maybe you should believe Colin Moriarty. Did you see his rant the other day? I saw it. I watched it 3 times. And in his opening rant, he's like, say something. Say something to Sony. What is going on with first party? He said that. Those are his words.
Say something, I'm giving.
There you go.
Oh
and
my
that
God.
was the song. Someone did a video. I think it was the Black Viking. Shout out to him. He did a video with that song, and it was, according to J-Rock, very touching, but very telling. So all jokes aside, Crispy Bomb, we are now looking at a platform that is packed with dysfunction, leaderless, directionless, no roadmap. And now we're hearing that outside of canceling the Spider-Man MMO that sounded dope, canceling The Last of Us Online that was in development for 3 years, their next online attempt on a first-party game is skipping the PlayStation 5 altogether. That, to me, is ridiculous. What are your thoughts?
I mean, what have we been telling you? Like, PC and mobile are relevant. Phil's been telling you for years. You know what I mean? Like, they are a part of the ecosystem on Xbox. That is not the case on PlayStation. We have to acknowledge that and accept it. And I know some of you stans can't accept it, but it's the truth. Now, the problem that Sony has is that they have looked at it in 2 different glass houses, and they've said, I'm going to be this way or that way. And now they're going, hey, let's license out this. Let's do this and that. Let's let's bring it to PC and mobile and possibly get, you know, a royalty or something like that. They're looking at it and like, we need to make money. Just about the facts you brought up before, they know what's coming, just like Hargy admittedly said. You know what I mean? Like, they know what's coming, and it's going to be hard to navigate the waters of gaming alone when you have somebody like Phil Spencer who said PlayStation and Nintendo are not our competition. It's Google, Apple, Amazon. These are our competition. And he said that, by the way. It was a couple of years ago, but he said it. And they need to realize that you can't alienate the console base that you already have. And if we'll put the quotes up, if this is true, then guess what? They have. And they look at you as nothing but, hey, you're going to buy this box.
Yep.
And we have called Xbox out at times, and we have been a little, you know, like, hey, like, I understand, but what are you doing? There's some in the community that don't remember what they said. I remember what I said, and I said, the fact is put all your hands in all the cookie jars and say, our IP is that important. You don't license it out. You develop it for the other iterations of what you're developing, mobile, PC, whatever. And that's where, like, the hope is in my heart that, you know, you get to play Gears 2 and 3 on a PC and see the magic that it has, because they've never been developed for PC. And that's the whole reason that Xbox would do a Phoenix Collection. That's where I look at things and I say, I'm a console gamer. I love console. I love just booting it up, not having like to download drivers and all these other things and just doing it. But the young one upstairs loves doing the exact opposite and loves optimizing the game for what he wants. So there is that community. And if you look at the chart I tweeted out a while ago, it was like, you know, a few days ago, I saw that and I said, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And I'll tell you right now, my girlfriend has like 7 mobile games on her phone right now, and she just got the thing. We just got new phones. So I don't understand why the PlayStation community has been so against it. But now if they go the exact opposite, I agree with them. Like, you got to have this on PlayStation 5. I mean, you have this player base that is incredible. And we continue, like, you see sales. But how many of those people are going to be like, man, I screwed up. I didn't realize we weren't going to get nothing. Like, what do I always ask them to do? Bring out multiplayer, and they keep killing multiplayer. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not asking them to take away their single player aspect. They make great games that, like, I feel like I would buy a PS5 for my girlfriend because she's into it. I want to control everything. That is the difference between me and her. She wants a story narrative with like movie aspects and like all these things. I don't want that, and I accept that. Like, that's the point. Like, you could hate on us Xbox gamers, but we got multiplayer and single player. You're talking about 140 people. Well, guess what? That's half of Naughty Dog. Okay, if we're gonna be honest. It's about half of Naughty Dog.
Yeah. Naughty Dog, according to their LinkedIn, has almost literally the identical amount of developers that the coalition has. The highest amount would be 500. I think the lowest is like 350.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to bring it to like this MMO and saying, like, look, like, you see how many people, like, you could split your team in half. Like, that's where you go and say you have hope for Forza Horizon, even though they're working on Fable. You understand what I'm saying? Let the people that are in that realm that have these multiple IPs or iterations of it do their thing. And I feel like Microsoft is on to something with this. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things, like you see games that fail and win. The beauty we have is Game Pass, and you can say, yeah, that's not my jam. And you can download it and then say, nope, uninstall. And I didn't pay more than I'm already paying. And that's something PlayStation doesn't have. And they're completely ignoring what they need to do. They need to go day and date. Maybe up
Yeah.
at the $20. It doesn't matter. But until then, they're doing some weird things, which have pissed off their own fan base. And they're not speaking up. And neither is the media. It is ridiculous. It is unheard of.
Yeah. Again, if like I said, I think like just kind of put it in perspective, very simply, is that if the shoe had dropped on the other foot, and this is Xbox doing this, there would have been a dozen articles asking what is happening with multiplayer. Why are they third partying? Why are they licensing out their
How
IP?
about Flight Sim only on PC in the beginning?
Yeah.
Prime example.
Yeah.
And that was for a reason.
Well, it was a technical reason. They had to figure out to get it to work, but this isn't a technical reason. This is a decision that they made. Now, Hargeet Chani put something in the chat I kind of want to read because it is relevant to the conversation. And I'll read the other super chats before that in a second. He says, first of all, he's been a channel member for 16 months. So, Hargeet, thank you so much for the crazy support, dude. He says, a Horizon MMO being made that will likely release in between 2027 and 2028 when the PlayStation 6 is supposedly ready to launch, but the game isn't on PlayStation 6. Is King right? Hashtag no PS6. I mean, it's a phenomenal question. I mean, they keep look. I'll say this: if their games keep going upwards for the development costs, meaning like Spider-Man 3 is expected to be anywhere between $300 and $400 million for Spider-Man 3. If I buy their games, I don't know about other PlayStation players. I buy all of their first party games. I buy all the collector's editions because they're all sitting right here. So if you're not going to buy the game, then they're going to need, and these development costs are going to go up. They're going to have to sell more games. We've already heard that they have to sell over 7.1 million copies. And I think someone said I'm wrong with that number. Is it higher? I don't know. Some people said 10 million. I thought I read it was over 7 million copies to break even for Spider-Man 2. I don't know if please correct me if I'm wrong, but they're at 6. So they're going to sell 7 million. They're probably going to sell 10, 15 million copies of it. There's no doubt about it. I just think it's going to take a little longer. So
they might have meant that 10 million would include discounts, maybe, or pack-ins with the console.
Because they do take a little bit of a loss when it's packaged into with the console, and they have to pay Marvel a significant amount of money. I think it's half of what the game costs. So if they're getting $25 every PS5 bundle they sell or something like that, which is just bonkers. I don't know, Crispy. Obviously, you're a multiplayer specialist. And it's something that Microsoft does right. They can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. Unfortunately, Sony cannot. And this is a weird one. To me, this is a little weird. Umbra, let's bring you in on this. Again, now this game isn't coming out anytime soon, but I think it really the overshadowing conversation is the fact that it's skipping PlayStation altogether. That's weird to me. Yes, it could be developed by someone else, but you've seen a game developed by someone else and released on an Xbox or on a Nintendo console. This to me is a bit weird, and I think why it's even more head scratching is that the gaming media is not touching this with a 10-foot pole. If again, Xbox makes a fart and they're writing stories about who farted and how bad it was, right? That's what they do. No one's talking about this.
I think they eat avocados. I'm not sure.
Avocado on toast.
It just
What are your thoughts on it? Is this another
look at that Family Guy episode? It's like he's like, I hired Michael McDonald to sing our words for us, and he's like, how they gonna know what we're saying? Is he gonna do that for all of us? And then he was like, and then Peter just farted, and he was like, fart. I'm sorry, I'm loopy right now.
No, it's fine. This is what happens, folks, when you do a midnight and you come back to do podcasting. No, Umber, honestly, I think there is something telling here. There is something telling that multiplayer does not seem to be a priority for PlayStation, and maybe their gamers don't care. I don't know. But the fact that no one's talking about this is a little weird.
Yeah, it's a little odd. And I mean, you know what? Let me take that back. It's odd from our perspective because we know how Xbox gets treated. It's not odd for PlayStation in the perspective of looking at it that way, because we know they get touched with in paws with get kid gloves, right? They get treated a little more fair. They get treated, they don't pounce on news like that without having all the info. If it's Xbox, they're on it quick. And
Right.
I've said it before again, and I'll go back to say it again. Xbox has carried the news cycle for gaming these past few years without question. And part of it is because the media's insistence to jump on anything, like you said, it could be a far, and they're jumping on it immediately. So part of that is that. Now, get into the meat of it, NSoft making it, and whatever, NCSoft, and it skipping and also going off the Decima engine, which is odd. Right? It's going to Unreal Engine, which I'm a proud, fan of. However, I don't think, to me, I think that might be the preliminary case that they might go to PC and mobile. And I'm just wondering how would that even work with them just skipping out on PlayStation? The problem is, and I think Hargeet kind of touched on it in his super chat, really, and where I was going to go with it and say, now I'm starting to wonder if King David is some type of prophet, because
Mr. 98.9% right.
Right.
I mean,
and, I'm starting to wonder, because I do remember him blatantly saying there would be no PS6. But I'm starting to wonder if Sony's vision is changing enough to where now maybe they're going third party. Maybe we should start throwing this weird slander and what's the word I'm looking for here? Conspiracy theory back on PlayStation fans, our Hoove brothers. I wonder, if they would actually do that. Now, I believe it's saying the game had been in development for like 3 years so far already, right? Since 2021.
Well, it's interesting because supposedly it was in development for 3 years, but then if you look at what was said on the guy's Twitter account, apparently they started development on this in September of 2023, which is why you when you equate what Hargeet said about it being having a 2027 release date potentially. I mean, obviously, we've been hearing for a while that this is a game that they were working on. So I don't know which one is it a miss? Again, is it a typo? Because I'm with you. I thought this game was in development for a while.
Yeah, it seems like it's conflicting. But if it's been in work for at least for 3 years, then I would say we would get it. They would get it at least this console cycle, right?
Yeah.
If it's coming out this console cycle, I just doubt that they would skip out on the PS5. If they do, that would be bold. I mean, it would be a different strategy for Sony. The greed, though, that Sony typically seems to display when it comes to that and getting all the money they can out of something leads me to believe that maybe for now we're seeing them speak up on the PC and mobile side of things, because it's areas where they don't have as much expertise as thus them going to NCSoft. But the PS5 would still get a copy. That's my thinking, because otherwise, I mean, we would have to start using narratives that our Hoove brothers used against us.
Oh, you mean by going third party?
Going third party, doom and glooming us with what was that one they always use on us? Oh, second class citizens.
Yeah,
remember that?
You put it on PC, but not on Xbox. You're second class gamers.
Yeah, you're second class now. PlayStation gamers, Hoove brothers, you all are second class ponies now. So that's what I'm starting to get from this. If that is it happened to be the truth of it, that would be very interesting. I think though that what it comes down to is that Sony is as slow as they are, and because despite people's misconception, Sony doesn't lead when it comes to innovation and stuff like that. That's for Nintendo, and it's
Right.
for Microsoft. Both have led the way when it comes to gaming conventions and changes in how we play games. Again, what Microsoft was torn down for during the Xbox One reveal, now it's celebrated, and we're used to it now. And Sony wouldn't. You saw Sony back away from it quick. They saw that, right? So Sony is reactionary more than plotting the thing out when it comes to innovation. So my thinking is that they're just so far behind Xbox when it comes to making their games multi-plat and trying to grab a bigger audience for PC and mobile, that it seems to be the case that they might skip out on PlayStation, but I don't think they would. I think it's just the way it's worded right now until they get more information. I'm going to give them that much until I try to be, especially going into 2024, I try to be just a hoove over our brothers on the stable side of things and give them the more, benefit of the doubt than they'll give us, as when they go low, we go high kind of thought mentality. I don't want to stoop too low and, step in the hay for them. So
don't step in the manure. Don't do that.
Well, definitely got to avoid that. I don't want to slide that into 2024. But yeah,
hold on a sec right there. Don't be sliding anything. This is outrageous.
Pause. Is he gonna do that for all of us? But yeah, I feel like maybe it's just currently that's what this.
I think why I get frustrated.
Yeah.
Right. At the gaming media is because they put themselves on these high pedestals. Right. I'm not making this up. Like, I don't really care about the media because most of them are disappointing. Right. There are some smaller sites like Game Rank that I like. Game Rant. That's one. BGC is another one of my favorite ones. I love what Andy Robinson and the team do on a regular basis. Obviously, Jez Corden of Windows Central, tip of the spear, in my opinion, when it comes to integrity with journalism. I mean, obviously, this you have the Tom Warrens. I look towards Tom. You have Tom Henderson. You also have oh my God, who am I missing? He writes for
Brad's.
Brad. I was gonna say Smith. I always get it wrong. Brad Sams. Yeah, he's good also. So there are quite a few. Paul Tassi. That's who I was having trouble with. Yeah. I like Paul. I don't always agree with Paul, but I like a lot of his stuff. I really do. So that's who I look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who I look to as journalists. But I get frustrated, Dave, when there's this blatant double standard, and we have people in this gaming community, and we have the gaming media telling us, no, there's nothing to see here. No, it's not that way. You guys are wearing tinfoil hats, according to some people in IGN. You guys are making this stuff up. We're not throwing Xbox under the bus and raising up Sony because they, we get 46% worth of ad read from them. No, that's not it. But this is one of those stories that I think is relevant. How is it that no one questions Sony taking a major IP in Horizon, whether you like it or you don't? I love it, so I'm here to defend it. And I'll tell you this right now: I'm not playing that multiplayer. I mean, because I'm just not that multiplayer kind of a guy. I barely play multiplayer. It's Halo and it's a few others. It's a Division. It was Destiny at some point. It's only a handful. I still play Titanfall 2. It's freaking phenomenal. But Dave, how are they allowed to just do this? No one challenges them. No one in the game media says, "Wait, I'm crying foul. You're skipping PlayStation 5 or maybe even PlayStation 6 for this MMO of first party. So are you third party?" Like, because we know what the article headlines would have been: Xbox going third party. Because that's all we heard at the end of 2023. Am I wrong, Dave?
No, I don't think you're wrong at all. I think that obviously there's bias in the media. It's just all there is to it. And whether people want to admit it or not, there are definitely some tendencies for them to to change the narrative to fit their quote unquote ad revenue needs. So that it really seems like what they're what they've been doing. Look, this is going to be Xbox's probably best year ever, and it's not going to be the only best year ever. I think it's going to be, this is the trend. Last year, with maybe the one step back of Redfall, which they have learned from, apparently from the scrutiny that all the other studios are getting now, as far as the, they want to make sure they want to see it before it gets released type mentality now, which is good, which is what they need to do. Checks and balances on the way for for production levels, and and knowing that they're going to give a game like, all right, let's be honest, if Starfield had come out as either a multi-plat, meaning on other consoles, or it had come out as an exclusive to PlayStation for the first year, and it would have released 2 years.
It'd have been 10 out of
early.
10. It'd have been 10 out of 10, dude. There's a fact.
Not only that, but it would have been a buggy mess. It would have been a bug festa, staple trademark. But they had that more time because Microsoft was like, we want you to get the best product out that you can because we know the scrutiny, and they want to help their reputation, which there are still people out there that say that, Starfield wasn't great game. That's cool. If you don't like a particular game style, that's cool. The game is absolutely phenomenal, and there's so much to do. So much to do. You'll get so much more out of your money spent, even if it's a Game Pass, that you don't have to actually pay for a big bundle, than you would out of any Spider-Man game ever made. Just saying. It's because of the actual hours you can play and the stuff you can get out of it. I'm just, I'm not slamming on Spider-Man. Spider-Man's a good game. The new Spider-Man, the one that they tried to bolster up their own awards for, was clearly an expansion pack enhancement. That's all it was. Extra download. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's fine. I just think that it's very funny that we're in a transmedia kind of world where everything is connected at some point, whether it be through comics, graphic novels, TV, film, games, right? We're all connected, online, offline, multiplayer, single player. And the thing that Xbox does really well, Fuzzy Belvedere, is they can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. They do multiplayer, which they're known as, and has been for years, as the multiplayer box. And they're doing big things with single player. This is one of those instances where it's like, for instance, there is an online mode which is only available, Halo Infinite. If they released an update or different things for Halo Infinite and skipped Xbox all the way, we would call them to task. We'd be like, wait, well, I'm sorry, what? This is where it started, and you're skipping us. Because again, this goes right back to what Infinite Umber was saying, the second-class citizen situation. That's what they called us, right? Oh, you guys are second-class citizens. Xbox don't take you seriously because that's why these games are here. They're not over here. And now this is, well, again, that it's leaked like many things for Sony. It's out in the ether. We know that NC Soft is working on it. It has a staff over 130 people working on this game. And it's skipping PlayStation 5 or 6. It's only targeting mobile PC. Yeah. Gaming media, nowhere to be found. Like I said, they have the resources if they want to go on, because all of the links are there. This isn't made up, folks. I'll throw this whole thing in the show notes. So after the show is done and I go on to put all the information in there, I'm going to throw this up there so you can do the clicking that I did. And it's not that big of a deal. It's 4 clicks. Click, 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 click. You can read everything that I read. It's there. It's in the ether. It's out in the open. If all that information is available, Fuzzy Belvedere, why isn't the gaming media talking about it? It's because what? They're protecting Sony once again? Because like I said, if we're going to call it fair, if we're going to call it down the middle, how does this game, which is a major first-party IP, skip PlayStation? It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'll explain. This may be a shock, but I have an inside track to IGN, Ignorant Gaming Network.
Yes.
They're trying to prepare a story of how this is genius, skipping the PS5 and 6. And the key thing behind it is let the PC and mobile be the bug testers. Remember the last Horizon game, how many bugs that had at launch? Well, let the PC and the mobile guys, sort through those bugs. And then if we figure it's a, good enough game at the end, then it'll come to the PS5 or 6, maybe. But, apparently PC guys have been asking for Horizon. I mean, so much so that they're actually doing another remake for Horizon, the first one. So, let the PC and mobile space. No, I'm sorry. I tried to say that with a straight face as long as I could, but yeah, it's funny that the gaming media isn't saying anything about it, but they're not saying anything about anything PlayStation related other than, well, I hope that PS5 Pro is shown at CES. It's like they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them. They don't want to lose out and be blacklisted against, free game codes or, first playthroughs and things like that. I mean,
Early access. Yeah.
exactly. Now, here's the thing. That MMO was shown or leaked a while ago. So I don't know if this was a complete reset of what they're working on, as of September of 23. But remember where we saw leaks of, it looked like a mobile game at the time, or kind of like a Fortnite mobile-ish type game at the time of that
Yes,
Horizon.
it had like that cartoony look to it. Yes.
Yeah. So I guess they've been, mulling around that idea for a while, and they saw how, gaming Twitter reacted, at least on the PlayStation side of things. They ripped that thing to shreds. They're like, "What? Not my alloy or alloy type of thing." It was like they looked at that as if it was like beneath them, and I can understand why. When you look at how the original game looks, it's going for that sort of photorealism type of look. Um, with a little bit of stylized highlights and things like that. But overall, that that leaked game, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's early footage. It's still in concept." It's like, no, they were purposely going for a certain, style or art style in regards to how that game was, put together. So it's not like they're going to go right back to the drawing board and redo everything as far as the visuals. But that game got dragged through the mud. Almost as bad as GTA 6's leaks, where it was just early code stuff. And that was like, 2 or 3 years in, where you could clearly see, some of the code stuff in the background registering as far as the frames and the input and output and all that stuff. But, the game that we saw as far as that mobile looking game or Fortnite-ish, Horizon game that leaked, like last year, I think it was. Yeah, their fan base wasn't having it. So maybe the higher ups at Sony were like, you know what? Our fans won't play this. So let's just skip them for now and put this on PC and mobile.
Oh,
Now,
that's
whether it's the fact
messy.
that they're the bug testers or not, we'll eventually find out. But yeah, for the most part, other than an established multiplayer IP like your Calls of Duty or your Destiny and things like that, the PlayStation fan base doesn't really seem as interested. So why not see if you can lure people into the PlayStation ecosystem by putting it, elsewhere? And let's be fair. Like if they put this on the PS5 and 6 and it has that same mobile game type look, this will have a shorter lifespan than Destruction All Stars. So I don't think they want to have all this time and investment and have their core fan base, purposely crapping on something that is an attempt to get more people within the ecosystem. So it seems like a strategic move in the sense that they already heard from their fans on what this game would, probably do or not do if it made it to the console. So why not just circumvent that, go straight to PC and mobile, use that as your canary in the coal mine kind of thing, and see how it does. If the PC crowd seems to, pick up on it, or it explodes on mobile, hey, maybe it's something that could rival Call of Duty on mobile. I doubt it, but let's just say, for example, it does. that would be like a genius move by PlayStation at that point. And whether their core fan base, accepts it or not, they'll at least have that funding for, Spider-Man 3 and, X-Men 42 and maybe Ghost of Tsushima 5. I don't know, but as it stands right now, it's clear that they have to change how they're doing some things, and I think this is that first test. Personally, I would prefer to see PC day and date titles, or some more of their titles come to PC. I'm still holding hope for Gran Turismo to come to PC, but we'll see if that ever happens. But it kind of makes sense if you take a step back and look at how their fans reacted to games as a service in general, and that leak of the original, Horizon MMO. So, but the media, yeah, they don't want to lose their free codes and early access stuff. So that's why they're silent. They're always going to be silent on that stuff.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Again, it's one of those double standard things that are annoying. Hey, Dreadpool, Happy New Year, brother. Welcome. How you feeling?
Happy New Year. I am so tired. I got home and got a little bit of sleep, but I got to tell you, Happy New Year. First show of the year. Awesome.
Nice. Well, listen, we're glad to get you. We're glad to have you here. Again, sorry that you're tired, but listen, before we move on to the second half of the show, and of course we're talking about the roadblock for Xbox. It's a stout, an impressive 10 to 15 years down the road, as opposed to Sony not having a roadmap and no one asking why. I'm interested to get your hot take on whether your thoughts on the Horizon MMO skipping PlayStation 5. Again, well, it's a bit of a head scratcher. What are your thoughts, Dread?
I think we got another Christmas. We got more tears. So that's why I'm wearing my Christmas shirt now. Another Christmas here. More tears. I mean, seriously though, it doesn't make any sense. It's supposed to be your primary platform. It's your platform that is supposed to lead the way. Why would you skip it? It makes no sense. So I don't know what, and that's the thing. People should be asking what's going on. Why is this happening? What's the target here? What is the point? And without that knowledge or questioning to gain that knowledge, that's the hypocrisy of the rest of the community. It's like, oh, okay, well, we'll just deal with it. When we've always asked for everybody, for everything. Even when Nintendo does something stupid, we're like, why would you do that? Why? We're asking questions. Why aren't? And that's where we're asking questions again. Why are they not asking these questions that we're concerned about? They should be more concerned about it than we are. I thought they were eating good, but where are those bangers? Because it's all cauliflower, not mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I mean,
who wants mashed cauliflower? I mean, seriously.
Mashed cauliflower, nice, tasty. I mean, it's not bad. I've had it, but
I know it's healthy, but
yeah,
that's also depriving you of your starches. This is depriving you of your games. It's going to PC. What's the point? What's the point of PlayStation? If you're getting your exclusives, but they're not there. And again, it's not making sense. And what makes even less sense is the lack of questioning. You do see some videos where they're like, I don't know. It's about, and it's like, it's about time you're starting to question, not just go with the flow and take anything they give you, and when they shovel you whatever and you go with it, you're not trying to make lemonades out of or lemonade out of lemons. You have rotten apples. What are you making with it? Nothing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
apple cider maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's a little spicy apple cider potentially. Look, at the end of the day, folks. Again, I think there's a lot of questions to be had here. I think that the fact that we're not seeing any articles from anybody regarding this, and again, I literally just added the story to the show notes while Dread was talking, so you can go and you can do exactly what I did. Again, and I'm not a sleuth. I simply found the article. I read the article. The article was interesting. The bottom of the article, there are 4 links for you to click on that you can see all of the information that I read for you live on the air. I mean, they're like they're official documents there from NC Software. They're LinkedIn a page there that says this is what they're looking for. I mean, if I can do that, certainly the conglomerate media can do that as well and ask some questions, and they're not. And it's disappointing. And again, I'm being very transparent here. I'm not going to play an MMO Horizon game. I'm just not. But I think that when you look at PlayStation as a platform, which is notoriously known for being only single player, and they know that they have to make money on these single player games and these IPs, boxing out the PlayStation community, it just doesn't make sense. And if you are okay with that as a PlayStation player, then fine, good on you. But I think there are a lot of questions to be had.
The thing is, I've come to learn, Boom, is that our Hoover brothers will pretend anything so long as it puts PlayStation in a positive light. They're
That's
not
true.
okay. They're not okay with this. You best believe that. But,
right, but they won't admit it.
They will never admit it. Yeah, that's the thing. I had a debate with one of their Hoover leaders over there. I guess you want to call him the Hood Huncho, Poto Rock. And he tried to do the whole thing. They're doing the narrative shift now with old third-party games. Oh, yay. They used to tear Xbox apart on the third-party front. Oh, they don't have first party. No, Xbox has no games. They have to rely on third party.
If they don't own the studio, it's not first party, even if they invest in it. So that's the rules.
Now that things have shifted and they see how dry is it looking over there. Oh, well, Sony invested a little bit of money into this, so that's also considered first party. Look, Phil Spencer said that. You got clips.
By the way, a decade ago. Yes, by the way, they pulled the folks. This is how pathetic some of their Hoover brothers and sisters are. They pulled a tweet from 2014. Like, okay, I mean,
he literally started being the leader of Xbox
in 2014
at that time.
It's just ridiculous.
I mean, let's be honest here. Like, y'all need to call out your own stuff. Like, I don't have like Boom said, like, hey, like most people have, dude. I've considered it, and then I'm a multiplayer gamer. Like, I don't see the reason to have that console. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the point. Like, if you're a multiplayer gamer and you're on PlayStation and that's your jam, I question you because you don't have what we have. You just don't. And that is up to you as a human being. But if you're going to like sit there and act like you have something that you don't have, then you're just ignorant. Sorry.
No, it's true. I mean, listen, it's fine. Again, it's funny seeing the contortion that some Hoover brothers and sisters are trying to do to make their narrative fit. It's just. And speaking of narratives, we're going to get into one right now. A couple of things. One, 700 people here. Amazing. Good morning. Happy Friday. If you're finding the channel for the first time and you're enjoying the conversation, folks, please consider subscribing. And of course, while you're here, while you're chilling, you're in the compound, you're in Double Barrel Gaming. Lots to do, lots to talk about. Hit the like button for the love of Joe. But let me catch up on the super chats, and we're going to get into this 15-year roadmap because there are some people in the chat there, Infinite Umbra, saying, well, I don't know about a roadmap because, Bethesda has 2 games and Xbox has 2 games coming out and this other, Activision. Listen, all you got to do is type in Xbox and you can see what their roadmap is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not even a question anymore.
It's so ridiculous and it's so out of character compared to where they were 5 years ago that it doesn't even seem right. Like I'll say this. They have so many games in development. They own so many studios that it almost seems unfair. But before we get into that, the fight is fixed, ladies and gentlemen, and Microsoft is going to win. Sony is probably going to be sitting at 3rd place. Jonas the Dad drops a very generous $2 super chat. Jonas, good morning, kind sir. Thank you for the generosity. He says, best way to start the day. Boom, in the morning. That's very kind to you, brother. Thank you so much. Raiden Blade, generous friend of the program for years, drops an outstanding £2 super chat and says, PlayStation can't waste money. MMOs don't sell. Ask BG3. Yeah, I mean, you know, they make money on, you know, having you come back to the game by buying things. Fortnite is the perfect prime example of that. I don't know if Horizon as a franchise has that kind of a grasp. I mean, just look what happened with their VR game. It fell super flat, like it really did, and it's first party developed. It's, it's supposed to be for VR. It's only on PlayStation VR 2.0, and it literally came and went, just like the hardware. Like, it's nowhere to be found. I mean, you can find it on every store shelf. I'm just waiting for it to drop down to like maybe $100, and then I'll invest. I'm not spending that kind of money on that thing. Highlander 001 does it again, folks. My goodness, this is bananas. He has gifted another 5 Double Barrel Gaming memberships. Brother, that is just crazy generous of you. Thank you, bro. I don't know what else to say, but thank you so much for that. Tim the Sorcerer drops an outstanding £2 super chat, and he says, SIE going gas. The market is already saturated. Yeah, they're late to the party. They are absolutely late to the party. I mean, look, I'm here to tell you that I'm not an investment analyst. I'm just a stupid podcaster, right? But I can tell you that when you look at the community that is PlayStation, they're not very multiplayer centric. I mean, they have, but when it comes to first party, there's not really a lot there. They play their Call of Duties, their Apex Legends, their Fortnites, their Roblox. I mean, the Minecraft. Right? I think they play Roblox now because I think it's on everything. That's what they do. They go for their third party. Which is fine. It is bonkers to me that Insomniac Games, who's been carrying PlayStation for years, is told, because they said it was in the leak, folks. Just go find it. Sony said no to their Spider-Man MMO, their multiplayer MMO. And then, of course, we learned, thanks to Naughty Dog, that they canceled after 3 years in development. They came to the hard decision that we have to do this one or we have to do this one. We can't do both like the Coalition, but we have the same amount of people. We can't do it. Ridiculous. If there are 2 IP that would have made them money, that could have put them in contention with other, gas games, it is The Last of Us Online, or whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to, call it, the old Last of Us, fine, whatever, and Spider-Man. Those would have, because they compared it. They said Spider-Man Online was going to be multiverse based, and it was going to be like GTA Online. What? Like, I would even freaking play that because I love Spider-Man. I don't understand how they don't invest in that.
Yeah, they ruined my chance. Boom! I told you I wanted to fly around with like Spider-Man with the with the blicky on me. You know what I'm saying? Just I'm a different kind of Spider-Man.
It's bad management.
Yeah.
It's poor management. That's why Jim Ryan is fired. Herman Holtz, I don't know how long he's got, how much left he has in the tank. I just don't. I think that he's going to wind up going as well. I think you're going to see an entirely different leadership, and it's going to come out of Japan. It's not going to be out of the EU or the US. It is going to be directly from Japan. They're going to be running the show. That is what they're going to do. Pragmatic Eagle, Happy New Year, brother. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, dropping a line. Everyone, have a great weekend. Enjoy your games. Remember to be kind to one another. Indeed, sir. And don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you so much for that. Super appreciate it. We have 3 more super chats, and I'm going to get right into the next topic, Infinite Umbra. We have Highlander 001. Wow, he drops an additional $10 super chat and says, the one who saw the future was Phil Spencer. He is the one who saw the potential of Game Pass, and he is the one who wanted to put games on PC. Phil Spencer had had to clean up after Don Matrix mess. Yeah, Don Matrix, Mr. Donnie D, as he's known. Yeah, he left a trail of destruction, and Phil Spencer somehow figured it out, which is crazy. Sir X-Men drops an additional $5 super chat and says, the writer strike hurt Sony's movie division. The TVs are not selling. PlayStation is their only profit margin. People need to see the whole company. Yeah, it's true. The strike definitely hurt. And they have some Marvel Spider-Man films releasing this year. Like, I don't think they're gonna hit it all. The Craven about the animal activist, that's not, I mean, do they read the comics? I mean, how do you have a Spider-Man, like, tip of the spear, no pun intended, villain and no Spider-Man, and he's he's saving the elephants. I mean, you should save the elephants. I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense. He's biting people's faces and ears off because they're hunting elephants. That's not who Craven is. I'm sorry.
Sound like the plot for Umbach with Tony Jaa.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, there you go. And that was a dope film, P.S. by the way.
No, they definitely look like they don't know what they're doing. It's why so many people were happy when Disney and Marvel got a hold of Spider-Man again, because Sony doesn't know what they're doing with that when it comes to live action.
And those films are going to bomb. They're all going to bomb.
Oh,
they're just going to bomb this year. It is what it is.
Got flop written all over them.
Yeah, it absolutely does. So Madam Web is another one. Like,
I don't even know why they did that. I was like, why? She's only interesting in the context, providing Spider-Man.
And the old one, not the young. We don't look. If you're a Spider-Man fan and you get to Madam Web, be like, wow, he's like beyond her power. Like, I'm shocked. I'm sitting in front of the Madam Web. This is great. Multiverse, excellent. Nobody wants to see her chewing bubblegum and running on buses. No one cares, because again, I don't understand it. It's fine. Stuff Sean drops a very generous £2 super chat and says, say something. I'm giving up on you. I love it. So the Infinite Umbra.
I would have followed you. That's how they sing in the PlayStation.
Yeah. That's actually, you got to see what the Black Viking did. He did it's like 3 minutes and 26 seconds.
I saw it.
And it's funny. Yeah. It is funny because it is a lot of PlayStation. They have the one. They don't have him talking because he's muted, but they have the Dreamcast character ripping off his shirt like Hulk Hogan. Like, what was the point of that? I don't know. It's fine. I guess that's how you sell your brand. It's just
was fitting. It was fitting.
It's just dumb.
Want to show you his muscles.
Yeah. Well, he ripped off his shirt and I heard buttons popping and everything. So look good on you, man. Good on you, Mr. Strength.
Let me arm wrestle that motherfucker. There you go.
Umbra. Let's talk about the 15-year roadmap for Xbox versus Sony PlayStation's uncertain future. And of course, the terminology leapfrogging effect, which is expected to happen because of ABK. This is a really big deal. And 2024 is, I think, really the gates being blown off its hinges when it comes to Xbox first party. And more importantly, single player games. Almost every game that they have coming out is based on being a single player game in a service. South of Midnight, single player. Clockwork Revolution, single player. Hellblade 2, single player, right? Avowed, single player. Major AAA IPs, all focusing on what I have been asking for. Like I said, I like some multiplayer, but I'm not a multiplayer dude. I want to be selfish. I want to put on my headphones. I want to sit on the couch. I want it to be dark. I want to be invested in the character and in the world I'm in, right? That's why I love my PlayStation 5 when they put out games.
I'm like when it comes to that, Boom. I do love some multiplayer games. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, the Halos, right? That's my jam. But Sometimes, man, I prefer having that single player experience where you just get the story, you get to be enveloped in that world. That's why I love
Yes.
Red Dead Redemption 2 so much. You know, you just get enveloped into that world. Same thing with like The Witcher 3, stuff like that. So I'm with you 100%.
What are your thoughts on this 10-year plan, this 10 to 15-year plan? Because again, this comes the way of us from a very good friend of this community, great friend of this community, great friend of this show, Special Nick of the Xbox era. Obviously, you know, Nick, look, you may not maybe agree with some of his takes, fine, right? You may say that he needs to play more games than soccer cars. I say leave him alone, let him play what he wants.
Soccer cars.
But he has a significant amount of connections in the gaming world. And I don't think that he risks his reputation by putting this out there if he didn't have it on good authority. So when you say that, and again, this is comparing apples to apples, Sony has been criticized by many of us in the community for not having a roadmap that makes any sense. 2024 is going to levy 0 first-party games outside of remakes. That doesn't count. You don't put a game out there that was released in 2020 and now you add a guitar playing mode as one of your perks for buying this new game. Hey, everyone, I was saying in the green room, and I was being facetious, but now I have to ask the question. They showed Joe, right? He's playing the guitar. That's pretty cool. Maybe Ellie play guitar. Can I play the guitar as a clicker? That's what I really want to know, because if that's the case, I'm buying, right? Like, I want to play as a clicker. What's happening here? So that's okay. No roadmap. Remake after remake, it's fine, right? No, we'll just keep buying it, whatever. Oh no, but they're only going to charge you $10. Boom. Oh well, I guess that's okay then, right? Count that as first party. $10. Why not? Well, no, they're not getting my $10. Sorry, I'm just not doing it. Let's get your take on this. 10 to 15-year roadmap says that Microsoft is hitting, man. Like, they are hitting. What are your thoughts?
They are, you know, and shout out to Special Nick. He didn't have to even say this. I mean, we can all see it. This is the beautiful thing about this new Microsoft now, this new Xbox. It's a strikingly different confidence behind them now compared to where we were in 2017. It's just way different. Now we got the swagger, right? And so the whole thought of us having to have a roadmap to, like, I go back to years back where we were uncertain of what we had coming to us and how we always had the whole wait until E3 mentality. Now we're just waiting to be surprised with, you know, shadow drops. That's how abundant we've had it lately, you know. So it's just a night and day difference, you know. And fast forward to now, and you look at Xbox and then you look at PlayStation, it's like they've switched positions in a way. You know what I mean? And you look at PlayStation now, they have a few, you know, I'm sure to be solid games coming this year, but a lot of these are multi-plat. Foam Stars. Oh, yeah. That's going to be the major banger for them right there. Foam Stars, right? Nobody cares about that game.
Splatoon 2.0. I don't know.
Yeah, come on. Now, our Hoover brothers, I saw some of them try to hype it up. I can't wait for Foam Stars. I'm like, yes, you can. You don't want to play that game. If that game was announced for Xbox, they would have laughed at it. Let's just be real. You got Foam
They should be
Stars.
hyping up Helldivers 2, to be honest.
You know, Helldivers 2, I'll be honest, to me, looks actually like it might be interesting. But that right there is multi-plat. You see what I mean? That's going to be on PC as well. So, and that's the thing they always tore down Xbox for. You know, now, sure, it's going to be on PlayStation 5, but you look at the mentality shift, right? When we had that happening with Xbox, oh, it's on Xbox and PC. It doesn't count first party. It doesn't count as exclusive. But now they're going through the same thing now. And it's so funny. It's poetic. The karma that's come back to them. That's what makes it all funny for me. So that's a multi-plat game too, Helldivers. I think Helldivers is going to be all right. I'm actually kind of looking forward to checking that out. Maybe.
Well, it's a much different take than the original, right? The original was like a pulled back version. This is kind of like a Destiny looking and playing kind of game. So it's interesting for sure.
Yep, it is. And then you look at other games like they have, what is this, Stellar Yams? That's coming out later in the year, right? Like in the fall, I believe they got pushed back, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah, I
and
did.
they're counting on that. They're hoping that that game lands the way they need it to, and hopefully for them it does. I'm actually look. I was excited for that too before they canceled the Xbox version that was coming out, but hopefully it lands and it lands well. But man, what happens if none of these or some of these don't land? How bad would that be for them? Because we don't know anything about this when it comes to Stellar Blade. We don't know how that's going to land. We don't know if that's going to be good or not. We don't know that. And so I mean, I can't think of any other game they've made that people got any, stellar reviews for Stellar Yams. I don't know. Obviously they have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out. I mean, that's not first party, however, but it is exclusive. Okay, I'll give them that, right? But they have what, a 3-month, I think, exclusivity for that. So that's also going to hit PC or maybe, possibly, even Xbox. They might have some type of announcement. We know that Square has been working with Microsoft again. So how do we know that it won't be a case where the partnership is solid enough that we get Final Fantasy VII launched on Xbox as it should have been years back, and this right here is going to be planned to be dropping too within the next year after that or something like. We don't know. So to me, I look at this and I look at PlayStation's roadmap, but it got the Rise of Ronin, of course, Team Ninja. I'm
That
sure it's
looks
going to be
dope.
great.
That
I'm
looks
actually
really
excited
good.
for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
very excited for it. Hopefully that's solid though. I'm pretty sure it will be. But a lot of these things, you look at that, and that's when it starts to kind of dry up for me. Everything else that I look at that they have announced doesn't really appeal to me. You talk about The Last of Us 2 remake. I have no interest in that. I've played that game. I beat
Right.
that. I remember having a debate with Riskin, and he's getting a remake for the first one. I'm like, why? It's nothing different outside some visuals. It's nothing different.
And
You're gonna
to be fair, they did show it. It's
yeah.
very hard to tell the difference.
It is very hard. Yeah.
And
Pause.
that's giving the PlayStation 4 a lot of credit. That game looked amazing. I hated the story.
Most people did, I think.
But the game was great. If the graphically it was great. The stealth was tremendously done, really well in that game. The weapon crafting phenomenal. Like there's a lot to like about that game. I hated the story though.
Yeah, and that was the crux of it. Like it was the story was the issue,
It
and
was too disjointed for my taste. Everything the flashbacks sometimes
Yeah.
didn't make any sense. I hated what they did with Ellie.
you know, they made her a straight out villain, but
It-
the bigger problem to me was how they handled Joel too. Like I can be okay with them killing him off. I think though how they did it was pretty stupid.
Yeah, it's just
He
dumb.
just suddenly just became an idiot and lost all of his survival instincts and just, oh yeah, I'm Joel, like him and his
just
brother.
dumb. It was.
I don't know.
It was. Yeah.
But that said, I had another hooved huncho in my good brother Nib on a Twitter, who was saying that they have added elements like roguelite, apparently some mode.
Yeah,
stuff like
that's a big mode, and I think that's going to be a big thing for Sony moving forward because you saw it with God of War, right? It's
Mhm.
a roguelite, right? You get out there, you do your thing, you die, you start over, you get better powers, you go back in, right? That's just,
Exactly.
and this is what this is going to happen. Apparently, it's supposed to be good. I don't know if that's what the PlayStation fan base is asking for. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. Again, to me, it is a mode being added that is just trying to justify a cash grab, which I don't like.
Yeah, and I agree. To me, it's just a cash grab thing. I will give them credit for making it a $10 thing, I suppose. That just seems very un-Sony like. Hell, them even releasing the roguelike, whatever, for God of War Valhalla was unlike them.
Yeah.
So maybe they're turning a new leaf in some ways. I don't know. But I think you look at that, and then again, you start to look at what Microsoft is offering in that 10 or 15-year plan, like you said, and you start looking at what's happening this year. I mean, we got Stalker 2, third party, sure, but I'm going to count it just like they're counting all these third party games on PlayStation side. We got Stalker 2, you got Hellblade 2, you got Avowed, more than likely Avowed, right? You have, I'm going to say Like of Dragon. Well, that's not Infinite Well because that's
Infinite.
That's the I'm thinking of the man. The other one was the one dropped into Game Pass, not this one.
The Man with No Name, or
Yeah, that's the one. But then you got Flight Simulator, the newest version of that. You got a lot of different things. Arc 2 is coming to Game Pass.
yeah,
So you got a lot of different ones to me, I think, just even in this year alone, that speaks more to me personally versus what PlayStation is offering. I haven't even played the Final Fantasy remake because I was waiting for them to finally bring it to Xbox. So I have no interest in Rebirth. You see what I mean?
yeah.
So that doesn't do anything for me. Stellar Blade is about the only game that I can honestly look at and say, yeah, I want to play that. Helldivers looks interesting. And Rise of Ronin. Rise of Ronin and Stellar Blade. Both third-party games. You see what I mean? Or I'm sure that some Who brothers argued, well, Sony funded something, so now it's first party somehow. Okay, whatever. So those are the only two games I'm looking forward to from them. And that's the problem I have found with PlayStation as of late. We used to get so much hate for having an Xbox. Why do you have it? You don't have any games. Blah, blah, blah. Now my PlayStation often, had it not been for me getting Final Fantasy 16 and Spider-Man 2, I wouldn't have touched this PlayStation last year. You know what I mean? So I look at this and I look at the investment I put into it because I bought the PlayStation 5 for a pretty hefty price. I didn't get it for the retail, So I look at that and I say, have I gotten my money's worth out of it? And not yet. I haven't so far. That's the thing I notice. And everything else I play on Xbox, be it third party or first party games, I prefer that ecosystem. So now I'm starting to wonder, how long do I need, to keep the PlayStation 5? How long is that going to hold me? Right now, it's not doing a good job of that. I'm not saying this to throw shade at PlayStation. I'm just being honest. I don't touch the thing enough. You know what I mean? It doesn't get enough play for me just because it's been a lot drier from PlayStation and first party. And I think that speaks to the roadmap that they have ahead that we still have not seen any real proof of. So and if our PlayStation, if our Who brothers were honest, being honest, 100%, I think more of them are nervous than they're letting on. I'm just being real. And
I think you're onto something. I definitely think that they are concerned because, and they don't want to show that they're concerned, so they come off and like, oh no, look at this list. They throw earbuds into it and all other ridiculous nonsense on a list. And I'm not going to say who did that, but it's you know what I'm talking about.
yeah, now the peripherals matter now.
Yeah,
remember they kept trashing us for controllers.
How many controllers do you have? Well, me personally, I got about 40 of them, to be honest with you. I got so many controllers, it's ridiculous. Only 2 hands. So who's the bigger fool, the controllers or me? Probably me. But look, I can tell you this, and again, the conversation is the roadmap. Microsoft, or specifically Xbox, their roadmap is upwards of 15 years. And when you consider what's coming this year, what still has to be released in the pipeline, you have monster IP coming back in a big way, like Fable, like Perfect Dark, right? That's just the tip of the spear. And then you start to look a little forward. You got to remember, all of the studios that they purchased and were announced in 2018, when you saw the turning of the ship with Phil Spencer as the lead, are now coming to fruition. All those games are going to be releasing within the next couple of, next year or two, because Fable, I think, is 2025. Based on what we saw, the game looks very far along. I don't know so much about Perfect Dark because that's had some development woes and they've done some changes over there. We know that Crystal D is working on that, which is great. And they're an incredibly talented studio. So, and hopefully they'll be first party at some point. So that's whenever that comes out, it'll come out. But there's so many games in development. I mean, for crying out loud, there's Gear 6's there's Gear 6 coming out. There is the rumored, or like I know for a fact, that Marcus Phoenix collection exists. You have the next Forza Horizon 6, which is rumored to be going to Japan, right? Pillar, Halo, the single player, is being done in Unreal Engine 5. That's being whether they reboot the series or continue from Infinite. I'm not sure what they do, but there's going to be another Halo game probably ready for the launch of the next Xbox, which is expected in 2026. That's a freaking roadmap, right? And we're only talking a couple of years, but according to Special Nick, Fuzzy Belvedere, it's go upwards of 15 years in advance. Let's get your opinion on this, because I mean, if there is one thing that you can walk away from this conversation and say about your platform of choice, is that you're confident that your $16, $16.99 a month that you've been spending, even though they raised it $2, right? And again, I'm not about applauding raising anything at this stage in the world, but it went up $2. It's fine. Sony raised theirs by 40 and you got nothing for it. It's fine. I guess. But when you hear Special Nick come out and say, no, their roadmap is locked 10 to 15 years. And then you look over at Sony and like, I don't know what they're doing in the next 6 months, let alone 15 years from now. Two companies are going in opposite directions on the escalator. Yeah. One's going up and one's going down. That's a fact. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's funny on a couple of fronts, in the sense that a lot of people on gaming Twitter were talking about, oh, Xbox is leaving the market in 2027. It's like, you can clearly see that they have a roadmap for well beyond that time frame. So that was always that noise that people made for, I guess, to take attention away from Sony, possibly looking like they may be out of the gaming space at that time. But we also talked about like how Game Pass has like a value additive of like the games that they added for 2023 of like $9,000. And even if you wanted to, diminish that and say, oh, well, if you get those games on sale at a bare minimum, let's say you get everything at, 66% off, which would be like the end of the year kind of sale. That's still $3,000 for the maybe $200 out of pocket if you're not doing Microsoft rewards of value that you get. So there's tons of value in that subscription. But knowing that over these past few years, like now Xbox has 40 studios, which almost every one of them has at least a secondary team, in some cases multiple teams within them, working on whether it's a passion project, a smaller experience, DLC, or expansions for an existing IP or a new IP in general. We already seen a lot, or have heard a lot of the project names, and we already know of quite a bit of name titles. So if you just look at that, and the fact that something like Hi-Fi Rush was kept in the tuck for as long as it was, where it was like it flew under the radar, and then here it is ready to be stealth dropped, that they have probably a good handful more of those types of things, as well as whatever projects, like once a project is finished, these teams aren't sitting there going like, well, I guess we'll wait until next gen to do something. No, they're not twiddling their thumbs. They're right back at it, probably with a next project. Like we're hearing rumors that, what do you call it? Double Fine. Like we've heard things before that they had like 3 things in the oven after Psychonauts 2. And one of them is rumored to possibly, drop maybe at the next developer direct. So there's tons of stuff for, like Special Nick said, whether you agree with him or not, for the next 10 to 15 years worth of content that they have, pretty much planned out. That should tell you they're already working towards what they're going to do for the next generation, the launch lineup for the next gen, as well as what we're going to have all throughout in between that time frame. So it's great to see on the Xbox front, as far as that this amount of confidence in their studios, and they've now built their like Pong would say, their moat, so that way no matter what happens outside of that in the industry,
yes,
they have something to continue and sustain their Game Pass model without any problems. Even if third parties decide they're going to boycott, which that's not going to happen, because they like money just like the rest of the companies out there. So it's good to see that Xbox has something laid out that far in advance. But it's like some people said in the chat, it's nothing new. Or Microsoft in general likes to plan things out in advance. Sometimes they're a little bit too ahead of the schedule. Like if you look at the Xbox One generation with the connected and the TV that now everybody watches streaming TV on these consoles, they were a little bit ahead of the curve. But that's always been the case when it comes to something relating with Microsoft. AI is going to probably be that next thing that, some people in the industry are, all upset when that one Microsoft acquisition was for like an AI company, but yet other teams that they enjoy games from have been using AI for the past couple of years, whether it's, Sony Santa Monica doing voice adjustments for Atreus's character, because the guy grew up and has a deeper voice, but they want to still have him sound like the kid or boy. But or now with Square Enix even talking about AI integration as far as some of their, you know, games moving forward to help, lighten some of the load and make it a easier and less expensive process, because gaming is becoming more and more expensive, by the minute when it comes to the development costs. But on the PlayStation side of things, I'm looking forward to Rise of the Ronin and Helldivers 2. Now, whether I buy Helldivers 2 on PC or on my PS5, we'll see. I mean, right now you can, on CD keys get it for like $35, or at least it was like last week. You could get Helldivers 2 for $35 versus the 70 on PlayStation kind of thing. So it's great to see that they're doing day and date for PC, although I know why, PlayStation people are mad. It's not just necessarily that it doesn't make them feel special anymore. It's the fact that PC is usually there's deals to be had, usually even at launch and stuff. And they don't like the fact that, somebody on PC can get into the same game they can for half the price. But all things aside, outside of that, it's good to see that some, whether it's, Colin Moriarty or if it's, broken HDR games.
Yeah, he's been out there kind of dropping it like it was hot, so to speak. He called Sony out for the lack of direction, a lack of roadmap. He actually did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see that some are at least taking that stance. It's like, I mean, we've been saying things along those lines for a while. It's like we have the box sitting here, whether it's collecting dust or not. It's like, okay, there are some games out there, but we don't know when a Ghost of Tsushima 2 is coming out. We assume one is coming out, but they could very well be working on a new IP. As a person in that ecosystem, we would like to know. When it comes to Ben Studios, we know we're not getting another Days Gone 2, or we're not getting Days Gone 2 because of critical acclaim or lack thereof. And, things got kind of broken up a bit, but they're supposed to be working on a new IP since they're no longer really on that, support studio role. So we'd like to at least get some info on that. Then there's these internal rumors that, what's his name? Cory Borlaug is working on like a sci-fi game. Well,
Yeah.
it'd be cool to actually get some semblance of info on that, whether it be real or totally misdirected, whatever the case is. Whatever he's working on within the Sony studios, it would be nice to at least get some insight on. And then when we look at things like they've canceled, whether it's the Spider-Verse GTA Online game, or even Factions, which to me, as somebody that didn't really play as much Factions with the first Last of Us, it did have an interesting enough look. I mean, we can all agree that the scam of the day before, being that it was a scam, it still appealed to what a lot of gamers want, as far as, maybe a zombie apocalypse type game, like a mix of The Last of Us meets The Division. And Factions was starting to look like that. It was actually the AAA that, I guess the day before was trying to be, but Factions had that definite potential to be that actual game. All that time, effort, money, resources, and like they wake up the next morning, forget about it. Like, really? Like, why did you waste all that time and money? Like, at least put it out there. Sure, I get it. The Bungie crowd, they said, this ain't it. But they ain't even got their stuff together. Like, they already had the delay, marathon, and they're already pushed back.
So what you're asking is who's going to save the savior, sir? That's because the Bungie's supposed to be the savior, right? They're supposed to be the guy to save them with their, with their gas game aspirations, and well, they're not doing so good over there. So who's going to save the savior is the question.
I got my idea on that one. Like, and I know it's a controversial one because the guy is a POS, but Bobby Kotick is available now to put Bungie back in, get them back.
He
on
would be
track.
perfect.
So,
Sony hire him.
Can you imagine?
But
if that happened, I'm telling you right now, there would be a mass exodus, because remember, they worked under him.
But the gaming media will ignore it. They'll be like, "Oh, well,
Bobby,
this
good dude.
is the
Yeah,
potential to get Bungie back."
Get that guy in.
But yeah, they would make excuses for it. But in the grand scheme of things, it's frustrating to see that there isn't, the insight or the long the, I guess, the showcase of dreams, that super secret second showcase that was supposed to happen last year.
I'm still
Like,
waiting.
yeah, it would be nice if it actually appears in something other than, leaked documents from the Insomniac leak or something. But yeah, I just want to know what's geared for this year. Well, I have an idea of what's geared for this year, but from a first party standpoint, they do have a decent amount of studios. What are they doing? I know they're not sitting on their thumbs, so at least show something, say something, Sony. But we have a pretty good idea that the end of this month, Xbox is going to show up and give us what we're going to be expecting to play for the next 6 months as far as from their first party studio. So it's definitely a different, like, one side of the coin is smiling faces, the other side of the coin is silence and crickets and whatnot. But I've rambled enough. I'm sorry.
No, good stuff as always. Listen, Dave, let's bring you in on the conversation. You like being slanderous.
No.
Even though we're asking serious questions. But before I get there, let me reach out some of the super chats. First of all, Trell Roberts. Welcome, Trell. Super appreciate the generosity. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, been playing games since the Intellivision, and I'm used to waiting for games to come out. I think every system has its downtime. Happy New Year. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I think the reason why Sony's situation is the way it is because Jim Ryan came in and he saw how much money Microsoft was making on the back end with games like Sea of Thieves and Grounded and Minecraft, and he's like, oh, we got to get in on this. And he changed the direction of a lot of these single player studios where there was some internal fighting, and ultimately they took them off track of making single player games to make multiplayer games or to make gas games. And now that has once again shifted back to, hey, we're going to just work on this. And it takes years to turn a big ship. Sony's a pretty big ship, and it's going to be a couple of years. They're going to have, like I said, all you got to do is look at the internal documents where they literally said, the leaked documents from that massive hack, that they're going to have to invest in third-party content until their other stuff is ready. And who knows when the other stuff is going to be ready. So thank you so much for the generosity, Trell. Super appreciate it. Torino Johnson, this made me laugh. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, just showing some support, Boom. Hashtag save the elephants. Oh, no, I started a hashtag save the. I mean, we should save the elephants. Some of them are endangered, and obviously, I'm an animal lover like Mrs. Boom. You got to save the endangered species for sure. And unfortunately, that they really are endangered. It's a shame. Juice Man 93 drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Welcome to the program, brother, and thank you for the generosity. He says being toxic comes with the territory. Ponies have been toxic and is elevated because PlayStation has been on top longer. Don't forget how toxic 360 fans were. I mean, I wasn't a content creator then. I was just a gamer. I don't remember a toxic community for the 360. I mean, they're out there. There's no doubt there's an Xbox toxic community that really takes it to a gross level. And when I have most of those people blocked. Like, I don't care if you play on Xbox. If you're a toxic troll, I don't want no part of it. But they're fun. They're fun, Xbox members out there. Like, for instance, J-Rock. He doesn't do anything heinous. He pokes fun. Same thing with the Black Viking. They're fun. They make fun of the gaming verse, and we have fun with it. Jax82 drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, in celebration of The Last of Us Remastered, I'm going to play the PlayStation version. I have 7 trophies to get that in order to get the platinum. Then I'm moving on. They can keep the remaster, not worth it. I mean, the first game is a classic. It's phenomenal. It was great on the PlayStation 3. Better looking on the PlayStation 4. I played both versions. I beat both versions. The remaster, I actually picked it up during the holiday for like, what am I paying for it for brand new? I think it was like $27. $26. Like I was like, all right, because I wasn't going to pay full boat. I definitely going to run through that again. There's no doubt. The Last of Us is phenomenal. The Sir X-Man drops an additional $2 super chat and says, I want Xbox Series S toaster. It's a must-have. Yeah, they released a toaster, and that's freaking cool. That's, it's gaming paraphernalia. You go out and you buy a toaster, and it looks like a Series S, and you have a fridge that looks like a Series X. Why not? I mean, I saw some people making fun of it, but then someone also, and I didn't know this because this community is they're legendary sleuths. Did you folks know that there was a PlayStation Pasta? Yes, it exists. It's got X's and squares and triangles and circles, and it has the PlayStation branding. I saw it. It exists. So I guess if it's okay for pasta, you can have a toaster. I'm just saying. We have here Dr. J, Mr. H88. Well, welcome to the program there, Mr. Hyde. He says, hello, Boom and panel. Great show as always. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Final Fantasy VII Rebirth exclusive for the PlayStation 5 only for 3 months? That is absolutely correct. The only clarification that we don't have is, does that mean that it's coming out on PC? For that exclusivity is 3 months for the PlayStation 5, and or remember, Square is back making third-party games for everyone because they want to make money. Does that fall in line with Final Fantasy VII Remake, the first one, launching when their deal is expired, and I believe it is on the Xbox, and then at some point after those 3 months, does Rebirth find its way to Xbox? Yeah, I'm not sure, but you're 100% correct on that. Apicab72, welcome back, brother. Nice to see you. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, my gaming resolution for 2024, get 1 million gamer score. Dude, that's great. And I'm already at 778K now. So I think I can get there. Dude, you can definitely get there. I'm closing in on 400K. I'm still like low. Million. That's freaking awesome. Let me see. Okay, so I'll get the other ones in a hot second. Dave, let's get your take on this, man.
Yep.
Roadmap for Xbox looks incredibly bright. Like we know a lot of what they have in development. We've known for years, right? We've heard the boos and the hisses from the PlayStation community about, look, you guys waiting for next E3. You're waiting for your games. You're always waiting. They never give you anything. And well, that mentality has now made its way over to Sony. Sony has their gamers waiting. There was nothing in 2023. Spider-Man, yes, it's a good game. Spider-Man is a great game, but that's the only one. And like I said, if we're going to call things down the middle, if we're going to be fair, Sony's 2024 looks horrendous. And we don't know what even 2025 looks like because they're not telling us. When you hear Special Nick say they, meaning Xbox, has a roadmap that goes as far into the future as 15 years, what does that tell you as an Xbox fan?
It tells me that Phil Spencer was definitely the man for the job. And
indeed, he was.
He look, we know that there's games coming for PlayStation eventually.
Right.
There has to be some things in the works. The reason they're not talking about it, fanboys will be, it's, secret event coming up, secret this, secret whatever. They're hurting. They're in a bad place and they won't admit it. And that's fine. But to tout the remake of The Last of Us 2 as a first party game coming this year, it's not new. It's the same freaking game, just with some enhancements, and you can play guitar now. Woohoo! Too bad you probably can't use your Guitar Hero attachment to it. So, but it's that'll probably make it more fun to actually play. But it's a mind-boggling how many studios they have. If you really think about it, the ABK deal going through is the best thing that could have happened to Microsoft. That it all kind of fell in their lap, and they're not done. That's the thing; they're not done.
Yeah.
There's going to be more, and there's probably. I mean, you got to think of what's quote unquote leaked, what's out there, what's in the ethos. There's probably 30 to 50 games in the design phase, in the early process, over all the companies that they are. Oh, excuse me, all the developers and stuff that they own that aren't even known or leaked, or you have no idea, that are in the works, that are in the ether, that are in the, whether it's early development or further along. And we already know there's going to be at least 2 this year surprise games that will be announced and released before the end of 2024.
Yep.
Guaranteed that are one for sure is going to be a third whatever AAA banger, and then the other one is supposed to be a more of a mid-tier. But so what? It's going to be fantastic, and Game Pass is going to absolutely dominate as long as Microsoft continues to advertise and to educate the public, the gaming public, and also the people that are the casuals. If they educate the casuals, there's no stopping this beast. It is going to tear things up. But the roadmap ahead like this, of course, because Microsoft, they didn't get to be $1 trillion company by stumbling or look what happened to us. They didn't get lucky. They work hard at what they do, and they've got these plans in place because they want to be the best. They want to be the market leader. And how do you get the market leader is that you have a plan. And the best thing about it, because Phil even said it, all the leaked documents and stuff. Yeah, there's some stuff out there that got leaked, but they evolve, they grow, they learn, and there's a lot of things out there that have changed. Some things are still kind of in the works. But that's the thing, is they're willing to pivot to do the best thing for their customers.
Why do I hear Ross's voice?
What?
I heard Ross's voice. Pivot.
Yeah, there you go. But the thing is, they really want to be for the for the gaming community and for the gamers, because you're thinking, oh well, they're a business, and they are a business. But if they support the community, and if they support their fans, the people that buy their products, then they're going to continue to get the money, the revenue, the income. That's the thing is, Sony had the philosophy for a lot of years is, well, we'll do what we think is best for us, and then our fans will just buy it. And they did for the long part. A lot of fans have, and people will say, all these consoles we sold for PlayStation. Yeah, from what we understand, for the quote unquote new Slim model that's been out, they haven't sold enough to even cover the new R&D for the console. In other words, it may be selling less, it may be making money, but it still costs them money to pivot and to change on their dime. So Sony is not in a great place, and Sony's a great company overall. Some of their TVs and stuff coming out this year are some of the best technology they've put in place in a long time. So we'll just have to see what happens there. But their gaming division, they've relied on it too long. They have had bad management, and let's face it, Jim was bad for management. He was. You got to be diverse in your developers, and you have to be diverse in your plan to make money. You can't just throw everything into one. The quote unquote 12 gas games thing that they had as their roadmap, boy, did that really bite them in the ass. So they're trying to pivot to make amends for that. And I mean, if you're a PlayStation only player, is there some stuff coming out? Yes, thank God for third party, or you really would feel it if it wasn't for them being able to buy a few things up. And I'll be clear, like in that new ad that they pushed, talking about games that are that are coming to PlayStation, what to be proud of PlayStation. Almost half of those, or at least half, are also coming to the Xbox and the PC day and date. So it's not that they're exclusives to them. They're trying to push the narrative in that ad that you can only get them here. But they're basically placating to their existing audience because they're trying not to lose the fan base. But this is the year that Microsoft is really going to push it all out. And King said it best. There won't be a PlayStation 5 or 6 because they just don't have the money to do it. You may think, oh, it's Sony. Dude, they are up against it. They are in trouble. And if you can't see it, you're blind.
That's true. I mean, listen, there's a lot to be said. Crispy Bomb, let's get your hot take on this, man. Xbox took many years of trials and tribulations to get here, right? They didn't turn turn over a new leaf when Phil got hired in 2014, and he obviously had to endure a lot of growing pains with other management that was in place that shot him down when he was trying to bring more games. Obviously, he gets promoted. We get Xbox Game Pass. We already know the story about how he single-handedly saved Xbox. He sold this dream to Satya Nadella. After the ABK deal, we heard Satya Nadella come out of his own mouth saying that we are in this all the way. And now you hear from Special Nick that they have a roadmap that goes upwards into 15 years into the future. We know a lot of those games that are coming out. We know that they currently have over 35 named studios. That is not counting all of the other studios that have 3 and 4 teams, in different places on the planet. And we do know that they are making moves. Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal seem to be almost locks into joining Xbox Game Studios. You have IO Interactive, you have Asobo, you have Certain Affinity, you have
People
so
who
many of
can
these.
fly.
Yeah, People Can Fly is another one they're working on an exclusive. I think that they have already been purchased as well. I mean, there is a lot to get in. What when you hear this from Special Nick saying, yeah, there are plans, and plans change, folks, right? They change all the time. But plans for a roadmap that to include upwards of 15 years, and you look at Sony and say they can't even tell us what's happening next week, let alone 15 years in advance. What are your hot takes on this?
You're going to see it in the shows this year, and people ignore the fact that like State of K 3 been there for a while. It was a couple of years ago they announced that. You have games that probably are not on your radar, but are. They have, MMO / like live in your own world. I mean, how do people look at Grounded and say they haven't made something truly special? With all the people that actually worked on the game, it is bar none like the least I've ever seen for a game that absolutely has enamored people. And they almost brought a kid style, not blocks like Minecraft status to that game and said, we are going to make this. And Phil allowed it. When it comes down to brass tacks, it's Phil. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yes, it was probably partially in development before Microsoft purchased Obsidian, but guess what? He allowed it to continue. And that's where we go and say, we've given a lot of crap to Microsoft for the way they've distributed IP. They've done things that we question, like saying, hey, like, we're going to let the developers do what they want. And I mean, you could bring up Bleeding Edge. You can bring up Redfall. You could bring up a lot of IP that just didn't hit. But then think about the IP that did hit. and talk about the developers that actually worked on that and say, well, darn, like everybody counted Sea of Thieves out a long time ago, didn't they?
They sure did, man. Yep.
Everybody counted out Halo Infinite a long time ago, didn't they? And all of a sudden, they come back into our realm and they say, nah, we ain't done. And that's what we used to give credit to Ubisoft for. Because, I mean, The Division, it's one of the best games I've ever played in my life. Division 1 and 2. 2 lost the story, but I'll tell you right now, once they got the gangs in New York and all that DLC,
Yeah, it was dope.
I
Yeah.
got right back in. And that's the point. Like, games only die in your head, but if the company brings them back from the dead, I mean, Rainbow Six Siege, people forget this. I don't even play the game, but I've had my PlayStation, Xbox. Hey, this is a great game. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the point, dude. Like, how many people are hyping up GTA right now? So many people. And they don't even know what it is. It looks better than what I've ever seen in my life, and I might actually purchase one because I did not ever purchase GTA 5. And I will stand on that hill. I have been over Grand Theft Auto. I'm done with it. But bring the hype. And that's what Xbox is trying to do. And I think this year is going to bring the hype. I mean, there are people that love a game like State of Decay, okay? And then you bring out a 3 and have you could possibly have like a single player and multiplayer in there. Like, that's something that we've been experiencing for a long time on the Xbox side, from Gears, from Halo, from even Forza at times. You know what I mean? And then you look at what PlayStation is doing, they're just like, nah, bro, we're not doing that. We're just going all single player. This is after they've already started developing games that are multiplayer. I mean, Jim was right. He was just, once again, just like we've seen from Microsoft and Xbox, too far ahead. And that's not for too far ahead of the actual people that are playing the games. It was too far ahead for the executives above him. And that's what's sad to me, because he was on point in a way, but like I said, you got to find the balance, and Xbox has the balance. Nintendo has their own balance, but if they come out with a comparable, handheld device with it being able to connect to the TV, and on top of that, like you're getting at the least 1080p, like 60 FPS. I'm gonna tell you right now, people are gonna go ham on that. And then you drop Call of Duty or something like that on there, and it actually plays well. We're talking a different realm. That's why Nintendo has not said a damn word. They're like, you know what? Xbox knows what they're doing, and they're gonna help us in a way. It's not saying that they're gonna make us better, but they're gonna help us in a way by allowing the cloud and everything else to take some of that power that we need to have. And then all of a sudden, like that Call of Duty looks. I mean, so many people play Call of Duty mobile. I mean, come on. Like is my phone more powerful than a Switch? You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, Xbox is just like, hey, we're doing things that nobody else is willing to do. And that's why I think us Xbox gamers, if you're on my mindset or not, respect the hell out of it, because
of course you do.
It's something that we haven't seen. And that's where I go and say, like, you could say the Phoenix Collection, you could say Gear 6, you could say all these other games that are, but Unreal Engine 5 is going to be something. You know what I'm saying? Like, You could tell me it's not, but how many people play Fortnite and, you know, play all these games that are built on UE5? And then you have Unity doing what they did with trying to charge people for, you know, just trying to start a game. And that's where, like, you know, they've stayed on their lane, even though they've had a lot of stuff when it comes to, you know, like going after Apple and everything else. But that's why Microsoft backed them, because at the end of the day, they look at Apple and Amazon and everything. By the way, Fallout, that series coming out on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
Just
I think
remember,
it's going to be big.
you know what I
And you
mean?
also
So
have
I
Fallout New
think
London as well coming out as a mod.
I think Microsoft and Amazon have a pretty good relationship. I think Amazon, you know, Microsoft and Apple do not, and that's okay. I mean, you can sit here and say what you want, but if you grew up when I grew up, they bailed out Apple.
They did.
Nobody ever remembers that, but that's fine. That's okay. Like, you can go and do your own research, find it out yourself. It doesn't matter. I mean, and that's when, you know, Bill Gates was in charge.
Yeah.
They bailed out Apple. So I feel like Sony's at the point where either they're going to pivot, which they seem to be pivoting too far again, too far one way than the other. Do not alienate your own player base. You can't do that. And that's where I go and say, and we're coming up on 10 years of Microsoft owning Gears of War.
Yeah, on the 27th of January that happens. Again, this is why I'm kind of wondering.
Which would be epic, even if they give a date of something. I don't care.
Well,
but
they have their event on the 25th. The correlation is like right there, man. It's just it would be a miss in my opinion. But again, this is what happens when you have this kind of a roadmap, 15 years in advance, at least for the next 5 years. You're getting 4 to 6 to 8 AAA bombs per year. That's not even counting indie. That's not counting second party. That's not counting any of the third party stuff going into Game Pass. Like I said, it's Sony. If you're a fan, you should be questioning what they're doing, and there is room for concern. I'm sorry, it's just major room for concern. Okay, folks. So listen, we're at the 12:07 mark, and we do have one more panel member who came in here a little bit late, so we want to get his hot take on this, and then we'll get everyone out of here so you can start your Friday off on the right foot. I believe I'm behind a little bit on super chats. I will get to those, but Dreadpool, let's get your hot take on this. Special Nick shocks the world as he's known to do, and he confirms that Microsoft has looked down the road 15 years, which is crazy. And that is how confident they are on not multiplayer, not just single player, first party output. And again, this is not counting who we think is going to be added to Xbox Game Studios this year, and that list is long. You know, Embracer is in a bit of a pickle financially. We could see the Tomb Raider, the IP even come to Xbox, which is what I'm hoping for, and all the other things. But when you consider having a roadmap that far in advance with your first party, says that they have a lot in the chamber versus PlayStation, which can't tell you what's happening this year, let alone 5, 10, 15 years in advance. What are your thoughts on this? Oh, you're muted and you're on fire.
Okay, everything's burning. Nothing to see here.
But nothing to see here, folks.
But this is what happens, right? Xbox under Meyerson was falling apart, right? They were going to get sold. Phil comes in, comes up with a plan. He figures out how to overstep Meyerson. He figures out how to get beyond all the negativity that Donnie D has brought to the ecosystem. Got rid of TVT, which I think is still one of the worst things that they did. They should have left it in there. But I understand, like, I don't even use my TiVo anymore. I don't even use any form of cable anymore. So you see that he had to figure out a direction, you know, and that was the thing. You know, I still am upset about the Kinect. I know I'm one of the few that love it. I saw the purpose in it. and I saw that there could have been more that they could have done in the future with it too, especially with VR. There, the possibilities were still there, but they had to, cut the bleeding limbs off, right? So they had the tourniquet, they had to do whatever they had to do to amputate. Mixer is one of those things too. Everybody, Mixer's been a hot topic recently again. It's like, man, I wish it was still back. I wish it was still back because again, Google and Microsoft do not get along. So we're not going to get that transition to go directly to YouTube for game streams. So when you look at that, this is what's been going on for Xbox. Everything's been under fire. Everything's, what do we do? They had, okay, we're going to give you 12 months leeway of a roadmap, and they found out that it's not good enough because when they did 12 months, everything that was supposed to come out failed. Halo, it was supposed to come out, and what happened? Well, it's on the next 12 months now. It got pushed back. So now they finally quit stumbling as they were going through growing pains with underfill, and just like we said, it takes a while. I don't know if you guys know, but to turn an aircraft carrier, it's like miles to turn it around. You know what I mean? So this is the same thing. It's a ship. You got to turn it around, and that's what Phil had to do. And now, we have a 15, projected. I mean, it really doesn't take a mathematician to figure out, any of these things to say, hey, they got at least a 15-year. So saying it and seeing it is totally different. So we could all say, they got a 20-year map. We already know Nintendo has something like that with their consoles. They already have this stuff. It's already been said. It's already been shown that they do all this stuff. They have two consoles in the making after they release the new console. So whatever their current console is, they have 2 in the making, possibly 3, and that's where they develop, figure out where they're going to put the tech, if they're going to leave it out for the following generation, or if they're going to bring it forward. That's, again, this is stuff that makes sense. And unfortunately, PlayStation now, we all thought that Jim was doing good at the beginning, and then we find out that obviously it's just like certain things were already put in play by the previous leadership, right? So Jim Ryan's PlayStation was actually Sean Layden's end of his PlayStation regime, and again, Jim Ryan's trying to figure out how to do his way, and it's just not coming across right. If you're saying I'm going to have 12 games as a service games out there, how do you have 12 gas games? How do you say you're going to have 12 and yet you have, and don't take this the wrong way, but Bungie, one of the studios that can't keep a home. If you think about it, they can't keep a home because they bounce from here, they bounce from there. They're looking for autonomy, and they can't do it on their own. They have to go somewhere else. They have to go here. They have to go there. And they're looking for a parent to take care of them, and they still can't do it, even with that. And then on top of that, they're giving the say so when it comes to factions. Maybe they were right, maybe they weren't, but we don't know. We'll never know because the world's on fire. And that's the problem. Is right now Sony's in this same predicament of 2013, but nobody's calling it out. And that's where we all called it out. We all stuck it out with them, and there's going to be lulls, there's always going to be drops, and there's going to be hits. So, and it's a learning lesson each and every time. They were doing so much better, and Xbox still dropped the ball. They still did that here and there, even though they were growing and expanding and learning how to overcome some of these problems. And again, you're still going to run into certain things, in the whole Bethesda ZeniMax takeover. Obviously, they left them completely autonomous, and nobody spoke up loud enough for the uppers to say, hey, you know what? We do need to back this off. We need to hold these off. But, obviously Halo had to push. They pushed Halo so hard because they had to meet the date. And look what happened. They failed. you know, and now look what happened. You know, you guys brought up Sea of Thieves. They let them do what they need to do to push and grow the game, right? So Sea of Thieves grew. Master Chief Collection was the one that they were giving all the credit to for a while, you know. And it's like, wait a second, why are we still going to Master Chief Collection when Infinite's out? Why are we not supporting Infinite? Why do we just let everybody go and not have anybody here to support the game? You know, it made, you know, they tripped over themselves, but it's also a learning lesson. And now look at where Halo Infinite is with the multiplayer, you know. And again, it's one of those things. It's there. You're always going to trip up if you don't pay attention ahead, you know, to not do this. And look at where Starfield is. You know, Starfield, you have people doing gameplay plus 30 or something. You know, it's like, how do you have 800 hours? Did we even have 800 hours since it was released? You know, some of it's just like mind-boggling, but that's, you know, games can live on. People are still talking about Skyrim. You know, games live on because they get supported from fans, they get supported from the devs, and they can keep on going. You know, Todd said, you keep on buying the game, we'll keep on making it.
Oh, that's a good
So,
point.
I mean, you know, and that's the thing. Look at, you know, and then we go back to games as a service for PlayStation. 12 games that were supposed to come out. Okay, did they not learn the lesson from your competitors? Rare was forced to make Connect games. When they were finally let go to make whatever game they want, they came up with Sea of Thieves.
Yep.
And look at where it's at. So again, it's not learning from yourself, it's learning from your competitors. You know, how many times we said marketing? You know, Xbox had the marketing in the PS3, but the 360 PS3 era, you know, and then obviously they faltered everywhere. You know, TV became a joke. You know, it was real, but it was a joke. And it's like, here we are, you know, here's another firestorm. What do you do?
Well,
And 2013 still comes back to Xbox. And it's like, wait a second, now it's 2023. Maybe should we like start pointing that to the other side now? Like, you guys are screwing up. Get your shit together and let's get these games out. Let's get these companies competing for our entertainment, for our money. You know what I mean? And no, it's like, no. $70 is not enough. We will go ahead and approve. We will pay $100. And you saw that in the leaks. They understand that people are willing to pay this.
which is
So we'll do
ridiculous.
this.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's the whole thing. It's like, watch what you say when you say stuff like this. Yeah, you know, I will spend more money if I could for certain things that I believe in. But at the same time, I can't afford all this stuff. You know, this is my money. I want to get the best value for my money. So whether it's a car, whether it's a house, you know, I want to get the mansion for as little money as I can get. You know, when you go to your taxes and all that, you want the value of your house to be as low as possible for your taxes, because you don't want to pay all that money. You're not going to say, hey, you know what? I know I've got this dinky house, but you know how much it's valued? And you're paying that much in taxes. It makes no sense when you don't put it in real life terms and you just put it in fanboy terms. So, you know, we just got to speak up for both sides. We've done it before for Xbox when Xbox, that idiot jacked up the price on the what was it, gold.
Oh
For
yeah, when they
you know what I
went
mean?
to $120 for
Yeah,
the year. Yeah,
but
I mean, and what did we do? We all came
we
out.
all
We all
came
talked
together.
about it, and they changed it within 24 hours. It was changed.
Exactly.
So
We all
yeah.
take, and this is why we all have to get together again, not sides, none of this stuff, but as gamers. We all are gamers. Yes, we have our preferred platforms, we have our preferred type of games, we have our preferred controllers, whatever. It doesn't matter, but we're all gamers in the end, and we all want to play the best games we can enjoy that we like, and we should all be happy for others to have those type of games that we're not interested in. Okay, the game's not for me, but you know what? I'm happy that my friends get the chance to play the game that they like, just as well as they're happy that I get games that I like, and that's the way it should be. And at the same time, we should be calling out the atrocities that these companies pull on us and think that they can get away with it because people will, okay, let's do this. No,
Well, that's so.
let's
Yeah,
not do that.
that's Sony's fan base. That's their fault. You got to
Unfortunately,
remember, they were out there in the street saying, "I'll pay $100 for next God of War because it's quality." You're stupid. Sorry, you're just dumb.
So wait a second. So you mean this free DLC we just got? Are they gonna throw in $30 now because it was quality? Did they forget to do that?
Maybe. Some people will be like, "Oh, I shouldn't have gotten this for free. Shame on you. Shame on you. So charge me $30. I'll take it. Good on you."
Devs got to eat too, right? Let's throw
Yeah.
them. I mean, and that's the thing, right? So when it comes to all this, we got to be reasonable. We got to call out what needs to be called out. We need to remind ourselves that we are all in this together, and that's what needs to happen. Yeah.
Good, great points all around, Dredd. Super appreciate you obviously being here. I know you're exhausted. We want to get everyone out here, folks. We're 21 minutes past the witching hour, so to speak, because normally this is a 2-hour program. But when you have a big panel, everyone's got to kind of drop their bars. Let me catch up on the super chats and we'll get everyone out of here. Joe Dunmore, who's been a channel member for 14 months, says there's a review of The Last of Us 2 on YouTube, on a YouTube channel called Game Boys. That is hilarious. I will definitely check that out. Wolf of Darkness drops a very generous $10 super chat. Says, "Hey, Boom, awesome podcast as usual. Thank you, sir." He says, "Xbox is going to be awesome in 2024. Can you get Infinite Umbra to sing any Seal song?" I mean, Umbra, can you sing a Seal song? I don't know. The Batman one comes to mind. Jonas the Dad. Jonas the Dad drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Bungie is showing PlayStation how to walk these streets." I don't know. Bungie's in a pickle, man. I don't know what's going on over there. I have a strong suspicion you're going to hear some inner rumblings that they want to leave Sony. It's just, that's just their nature, man. I don't know why they even got acquired. The Liz 2020, the Liz 22 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Boomer, just tagged you in the tweet. WCCF Tech has an article out today. 100 million PlayStation console sales won't be enough. Implies Series S approach for their next gen." Wow, I'm gonna have to read that article. That's pretty interesting from WCCF Tech. Thank you so much for that. We have Sir X-Man drops an additional very generous $2 super chat and says, "Do you like that Glitch of the Year award video?" I didn't see it. I have to watch it. I heard people talking about it. Drop it in my DM so I can take a look and see what you're saying, Sir X-Men. The Liz drops an additional $2 super chat and says, "Sorry, Boom, autocorrect Boomer was the last super chat." That's okay. I get called Boomer all the time. That's perfectly fine. Scott Gamer Dude. Scott, Happy New Year to you and yours. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Hello, Boom. I have so many friends that play on Xbox but don't have Game Pass. I don't get it. I don't understand that. I don't know. Maybe that's Xbox's fault for not marketing it more. I don't know how you could play on Xbox and not have that $17 a month service. It's just, you get so much for your money. Last year they got almost $9,000 worth of games dropped into Game Pass. It's bonkers. And last and no way least, actually 2 more. Tim the Sorcerer drops an additional £2 super chat. Tim, thank you for the generosity. He says, "Best wishes, everyone. Have a great weekend." Have a great weekend to you as well. ADM drops a £2 super chat and says, "Happy New Year. Keep criticizing. Love all y'all." XD, thank you so much for the kind words and thank you for the generosity. And we will continue to let people know about themselves, including these companies who fight for our dollars. Infinite Umbra, let's get you on out of here. You didn't have a fix yesterday with Danny, but you're coming back strong next Thursday. Sell the brand of the fix. Where can people check out that show? And more importantly, where can people follow you on social media? He's muted or he's sleeping. We don't know. I mean, he did work at midnight.
I was sleeping.
So we'll come back to Umbra in a hot second. The Web Dave, let's sell your brand. You obviously are one of the best YouTubers when it comes to one-on-one videos.
I am awake.
Interviews. And of course, you have a Sunday program with Retri called the Gamers Council Podcast, where you have amazing guests each and every week. What you got going on this week, dude?
We've got some good things coming up. It's going to be a good show. There's a lot to talk about. We're talking about the roadmaps and a few other things, and then we're going to really get into what we think is going to be coming. Sorry about the dogs in the background, but they
That's all
just
right. Don't worry about
they're
it.
getting crazy. They're excited for the show too. That's it. Uh, but we actually need to get you back on sometime soon. Just
Yes.
saying. I trust me. I know you're a busy man, but holidays are over. No excuses. No, I'm just
Yep.
kidding.
No
We would love to have you
excuses.
back on for
Yeah.
real, for real. So anyway, but yeah, no, I just dropped it in the chat, the link, and thank you all so much. Sorry about jump a few times there. I actually had a couple of interview setups that I had to get done real quick. So
Yep.
it's a good thing. So apologize for that.
All right, no sweat, brother. Listen, obviously, you got to work on your channel, even if that means that you're podcasting and doing a dual at the same time. Listen, great to have you a part of the show each and every week.
Thank you.
Not only here, but of course on Mondays on the Xbox Lunch Break Special. Look forward to what you and Retro are going to do in 2024. I would imagine it's upwards and onwards for the channel, and we want to see that. So thank you, Dave, for being a part of this, as you always are. Crispy Bomb, sell your brand, brother. What you got going on? And more importantly, where can people follow you on social media?
At Chris Bum on X.
There you go.
I'm not doing the Twitter thing anymore. It's dead. Sorry, guys.
Okay, yeah.
Chris Bum 20 Xbox Live. And you can find me back here on Breakfast of Boom, Fridays, 10 a.m. And maybe I'll show up somewhere else. You never know.
You just never know, and that's what we love about you, brother. We love when you jump on, even when you're unexpected, and obviously you knocked it out of the park, as you always do. Fuzzy Belvedere, kind sir, sell your brand. Tell everyone where they can find the place for the best place for anything and everything in the racing genre. You just did a Forza Horizon 6 prediction video. I was a part of it for about 35 minutes. Got some interesting conversation with you. You think that it's releasing this year, which would be crazy if it did. Talk about it. Where can people help you get to 500 subscribers? And more importantly, where can people follow you on social media?
Oh, as always, want to thank you for having me on. Greatly appreciate the opportunity. And thanks to everybody in the chat for interacting with us. Greatly appreciate you guys taking the time to check us out. Once again, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And for those that want to hear my endless rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. I'm also on a lot of other social media platforms as well, like Instagram and Threads and stuff. Just do the same search for Fuzzy Belvedere, either all one word or with the underscore in between the two. And for my YouTube channel, it's Fuzzy Belvedere all together. Mainly do stuff as far as for Forza Motorsport as well as Forza Horizon, and also a good bit of stuff for GT7 as well. But as always, thank you, everyone. Greatly appreciate all the support. And man, this is going to be an awesome year. Can't wait till the showcase or the developer direct here later on this month. But man, this is going to be a good one. Have a good weekend, guys.
Appreciate that very much. Dreadpool, let's sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone what you got going on, where people could check out Breaking Bread with Dread, and more importantly, find you on social media.
Muted again. All right. So yes, definitely check us out on the Dreadpool channel here. I posted the link. You see the ones that can see on the video. I've got all my links here. Linktree.com Dreadpool has everything. Everything's linked to each other. So if you go to one place, you'll find the other stuff. Game Beyond the Box at 7 p.m. on Sundays. Here, Breakfast with Boom Friday mornings. And then coming up on Sunday mornings now is Good Morning Xbox on the Iconic Video Games podcast. So I have to update my info card, but whatever. It is what it is. At least I get to say it. But most of all, thank you all for hanging out with us and having good conversations. And nobody got out of hand, which was
which
good
always
to see.
Appreciated.
It's always good to see. Varying opinions and just good discussions. So again, thank you all, and we'll see you next week. If
absolutely
not, in between all these other shows.
Yeah, we're looking forward to what you're going to do with Breaking Bread with Dread in 2024. Super excited for that as well. And Infinite Umber, are you there, sir? He could have logistically
He sung
fell
himself to
asleep.
sleep.
I mean, it's possible, folks. He does work midnights, folks. He literally came from work and jumped on the podcast. So he's probably catching some Z's. Listen, you got to check his channel out. Obviously, The Fix, Thursday evenings, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with his co-host with the co-most, Daniel McGee. Definitely go and check that out. Subscribe. Obviously, they have some big plans for 2024. And of course, I'd like you to support him as well. Obviously, he's out here supporting us by being on the show today. And of course, folks, a big thank you. We had so many super chats, so many new channel members. Thank you so much. Obviously, we're doing a lot this year. We have already dedicated that, and we've already went through the finances that what we did in December of 2023, which was give away $1,500. We're going to replicate that at the minimum next year at this year's end of year celebration, which we've done. That'll be our 7th annual, but we do have a big one coming up, and that is when Stalker 2 is released for PC and for the Xbox Series X and S. Mrs. Boomstick and I, to support the developers, are giving away and purchasing at full price 15 copies to give away during a live stream. Your choice, PC or Xbox. And if you win, of course, and you're outside of the US, we will then see if we can get worldwide codes. I'm going to get some help from Hargeet, who knows how to do that. And if we can't, we'll send you the money via PayPal. You'll buy the game. You'll support the company like we're doing. And again, it's just our mom and pop organization kind of a way, helping a developer that has gone through it, man. I mean, obviously, they're from Ukraine. Ukraine is still under siege from Russia, and they had to be relocated, which to I believe their new headquarters is in Prague, I think it is. And that's they've been through it. So we want to support the devs. And this is our way of doing that. And we're not looking for shortcuts. We're going to buy the game at full price, $76.43 here. Just do the math. Times 15. That's a lot of money. That's going to be our first big giveaway. And of course, we will then continue throughout the year and give other things away. But we can't do any of that without your help. Obviously, by donating through super chats as well as channel memberships, we are able to do these big giveaways. And this year, just on 2 contests alone, is going to be nearly $3,000, right? So we super appreciate all the generosity that has come in, that continues to come in. And before we get out of here, folks, I want to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.